Hey y'all, good morning. Get your butts out of bed. Let's go. It's time. We gotta get on the water and get some bait, man. We're right here at First Light. I'm gonna put y'all in the chest here. I'm gonna hop in the kayak, buddy, and we're taking off and going. Me and you, we gotta get us some catfish bait today. And if the bite today is like it has been, it's gonna be over quick. So what we gonna do, I see some busting right out here already. We're on the water here, right here before dawn. We're gonna troll some spoons this morning. This is a sumo spoon. I'll probably show you again here once the sun comes up a little bit, but I'm just gonna cast that out there behind us a little bit and get us on the move. And I'm gonna take another rod. I'm gonna have the same setup. And we're gonna troll here. I'm at Melton Hill Dam, right here above the dam. And me and you, we're gonna take off and cover some water. We're gonna try to catch us some skipjack, probably get some white bass. There's that too, just a white color sumo spoon. I've got a link for those down in the video description. They're just a curved piece of metal with a hook on it. And as it pulls through the water, it makes a vibration and kind of an erratic swimming motion. And it looks like a shad that's fleeing, that's gotten separated from a school. I'll tell you something else I got to do right quick too. I got to empty my pockets, y'all. I got keys, wallet, and everything. Y'all got me in such a rush to get out here. I ain't fully prepared here, folks. Get your telephone out this pocket too. All right, there we go on it. But yeah, folks, I'm gonna bring y'all with me today on a bait run. I'm gonna try to catch us some skipjack and white bass here at first thing, right here at sunrise. This bite, it's been fast and furious until the sun gets up above them trees, and once that happens, game over. But what I wanna do, after we get some bait, I got my ultralight rod with me too. We'll take it here along the dam. Oh, look right here, we're about to get hit. Something hit us. There he is. He hit it twice. Just like that, folks, we're hooked up. We'll see what this is. Could be either or. I've been getting skipjack back down here by the dam and white bass up here by the boat ramp. It's white bass. We'll take him though. We'll take him. Get him unhooked here. I thought he was gonna pop right free. He's wanting to be difficult on us. He's hooked good. Turn the bottom lip. Let me have that hook back there, fish. We gotta get on the move now. Ain't got time for this. Let me get him there in the cooler. And I'll show you these. I'll show you how I've got my leader set up here in a little bit. I don't know how well y'all can see right now. Low light and all. And action cameras don't always mix, but once we get done catching our bait, I'm gonna take my ultralight rod. We'll go down here by the dam. We will work along this shoreline over here, and we'll have us some fun on that ultralight catching whatever. Bluegill. Oh my gosh, I just got it cast back out and started moving. Here we go again. We're on them, man. We're on them just like that. This is going to be an unedited video today, just raw and uncut. Y'all my fishing partners out here this morning. This may be the quickest we've ever got two fish on video in the first two fish in what, 3-4 minutes here. That's pretty good, ain't it, Mr. White Bass? He's happy to be breaking records as I think he just crapped all over the kayak here. That's okay. That's okay. We'll get our revenge because we're gonna cut him up and feed him to a catfish. So we'll get that fish back, won't we? I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning, y'all. I woke up before my alarm and I took a look at the clock and I was like, well, ain't no point in rolling back over. I might as well just, let me let out just a little bit more line on that. There we go. I was like, ain't no point in rolling back over. I might as well just get on up. So I've already had time to wake up and everything. Y'all ain't even rolled out of bed yet at this hour. Although this video is probably coming out in the evening hours when I post it, so technically you're awake. But this fish right here said he got up before the sun rose today. It ain't even nowhere near up yet. I'm just starting to see the light up there above the trees, so we need to get on some skipjack. These white bass, we can sit here and catch the far out of them, and I'll certainly use them, but my confidence bait for catfish is certainly the skipjack, and I'd like to make sure we get some, but I've been getting them right in front of the dam down here. So I think once we get down here, loop around the other side of the dam, I think we'll have better chance at the skipjack. And the skipjack, their bite, it seems to be just a little bit, the window's less. There's less time that they're going to be feeding. At least that's how it's been recently. I have struggled to catch skipjack this summer. It's just been a tough summer. The skipjack haven't been where they historically are for me, and I've just had to grind, man. I've just had to get out and look and search, trolling mostly, like I'm doing here today. Undoubtedly, if you're new to my channel, you'll probably want to know my trolling speed. I don't have my graph turned on. I don't need it for this. My trolling speed, I've got us moving somewhere between 2 and 3 miles an hour, roughly. 2.5-ish. When you're trolling for skipjack or white bass, if you keep your speed somewhere around 2.5 to 3 miles an hour, you're golden, man. It's not an exact science. Sometimes they're going to want it faster. Sometimes they're going to want it slower. But if you just play around with your speed, a casual pedaling pace in this kayak is usually 2.5 miles an hour. I can maintain that for a long period of time. And so, I don't need the graph to tell me that, so I don't even have it turned on. Don't care anything about the depth, because honestly, we're out here kind of in open water, and that's where we're going to spend most of our day, in open water, because that's where the fish are. They are not necessarily relating to a type of structure right now. They are following schools of shad. We've had a shad spawn several weeks ago now, and that's why this spoon bite's getting better, is because the spoon is more representative of the size of the bait that they're currently eating. When the shad fry, when the shad first spawn, the fry, man, they're just tiny little things. It is hard to catch fish because they are keyed in on such a small bait. But as you move on, get a few weeks past the spawn, them shad grow pretty quickly. And they start getting to the size that's more easily represented, I guess, with your lures. My last bait run that I filmed, I had a fish, I can't remember if it was a largemouth or skipjack, but it had spit up some of them tiny shad fry. And I showed on that video, like, the comparison with that puked up shad compared to the spoon, compared to a trout magnet that I was using, and compared to a 1-inch Gulp minnow. All of the lures that I had was way bigger than the shad fry. But if we get any today, I'll show you them. There may still be some runts, but most of the shad now are closer to the size of the baits that we're going to be using. So I think we're going to have a better day. The spoon, I've got both rods with spoons. Now last time, well, not last bait run, but the last bait run I filmed, I was using one spoon and one rod with a double jig setup. I had just 1-inch trout magnets on each of those. Lately, the reason I've got 2 spoons on today is because I've been having more success on the spoons than I have the jigs. It's that time of year. Most of the fish I catch, skipjack wise anyway, throughout the year on my bait runs, they are going to be caught on the jigs. Probably, I mean, I'd say 80%. I don't, you know, it's not an exact measurement, but I'd say around 80% of the skipjack I catch throughout the year on jigs. Maybe somewhere between 80 and 90% even. But in these summer months, there is a time period where the spoon typically will get me some skipjack a little more frequently than the jigs will. And it seems to be lately, we're in one of those time periods. So we're gonna rock 2 rods with the spoons today. It'll either work out or it won't. I know we can get some white bass as evidence coming down through there by the boat ramp. If we are struggling to catch any skipjack, we'll focus on that area, make sure we got enough white bass. Between the boat ramp there and the campground, that's where them white bass have been hanging out lately. The skipjack have been more in this area in front of the dam. I'm not really seeing anything right now, but hopefully as we get closer to dawn here, they'll come up and get active. We're still a little while away from the official sunrise. You know how it is, there's the sunrise and then there's first light. The weatherman sets the sunrise, and I don't really, you know, y'all know more about this than I do. I don't know how the sunrise is determined. Is that like when it gets over the horizon? I don't know, but it's typically a little bit like right now. We've got enough light to function out here, but it's not technically sunrise yet. So hopefully as we get closer to sunrise, we're gonna see some skipjack activity. Skipjack's just been weird this year. I had a good spring, but usually I can follow when they make their run upriver in the spring to spawn. As the spawn tapers off, I usually follow them back down river. It's usually like clockwork where they end up and when. It has not been like that this year. Either my timing has been just incredibly off, or something's, I don't know. They just haven't been where they have historically been this year. So I've been struggling, man. I've been just trying to scrounge us up some bait best I can, and well, I got on a little bit of a bite here recently, and so we're rolling with it. We're gonna try to, right here's something right here beside us going on. That may be bass. It's not skipjack, could be largemouth. We will probably catch some largemouth today, maybe some smallmouth. They are chasing these shad schools as well. I wouldn't be shocked if we get some out. They'll be feeding up near the surface, but out over 70 feet of water. You know, we get up here, you get out here in the middle right here in front of the dam, you're looking 60 to 70 feet down here, up there by the campground, 50-ish feet deep, out in the center anyway. Not uncommon at all to catch largemouth, smallmouth, skipjack, white bass, everything out there, just because they're just following the shad schools. The shad are running for their lives, literally. And these predator fish are following them. So it's a unique time. You know, most of the time, at least how I fish anyway, I want to focus on structure. That's how I want to, especially, you know, when I'm catfishing, for instance. Y'all regular viewers, fishing buddies of mine here, you see me focusing on structure. I'm working ledges, I'm working humps, I'm working points, creek mouths. I'm focusing on places that fish are either going to be or move through. This time of year with things like bass, white bass, largemouth, etc., the structure they're relating to is not necessarily bottom oriented as it is just the food oriented. Because they have all these easy meals out here, these shad fry are just, it's easy for them. It's easy food source. So we're just trying today, we're going to try to represent a shad that has gotten separated from its school. There's something come up right here. I don't know what that was. That might have been buffalo, possibly right there. He looked like a silverish color, a little bit larger fish. I've mentioned this in other videos, but if you're new, I'll say it again, like, why what we're doing will get you bit. There's a saying that we've all heard in life called safety in numbers, and it's especially true with shad. When they're all schooled up and bunched up tight together, it's hard for a predator fish to eat any one individual shad, because it's hard for them to lock in and focus on that one fish in that school when they're all swimming so tightly together. So what you'll see them do, you'll see them predator fish swim into the school of shad and try to scatter them, try to bust them up. And when they get those individual shad separated from the school, then it's easier to lock in on them and pick them off. So what we're trying to do today, by trolling around out here with these spoons, is we are trying to imitate a shad that has gotten separated from its school and is erratically swimming, panicking away. Because when these spoons are going through the water, again, there's a vibration, it's a very erratic motion as it's going through. And so we're trying to imitate that. And as we come across these fish, I'm gonna get us spun back around here. We're gonna make another pass here by the dam. We're just kind of work in and out here. I'm focusing on I know we stopped getting bit as we got over here, but I'm kind of just wanting to work this area right now because of the skipjack. Even though we're not seeing them, I know lately this is where they've been coming up, so want to kind of work it here first thing. We'll loop back around here. We're right here by the boat ramp. There's another boat that just launched, another one that's about to back in, so I'm filming this on a weekend. It's a Sunday out here when I'm filming this, so y'all know I don't like fishing around people, videoing around people. It's going to be probably a busy morning here at the ramp, so I'd like to try to hang out over here if I could while there ain't anybody, versus being over there. Hopefully most of these people are going to launch and go upriver. We'll see. But yeah, folks, this right here, it's an effective technique. It's an effective technique year-round, but it's just, you're representing what they're eating. Oh, something's after this one on the left right here. Something hit me twice. As far as distance behind you, it's not an exact science. It really, I don't think it really matters, to be honest with you. These spoons, they're so lightweight, they're going to be running up near the surface. When we're getting fish that are feeding up near the surface, well, that's where we want to keep the bait. And when they're chasing these schools of shad, they're very aggressive. Like, I've literally trolled through schools of busting fish, both white bass and skipjack, and they'll be hitting the bottom of the kayak as I go through them. Like, they're not scared of the kayak at all. So you don't have to really keep your bait super long distances behind you when you're doing this technique. So I make a cast length, let out a little bit more, because I can't really cast these spoons very far without any weight on them. They're a very lightweight lure, especially on these heavier bass tackle rods that I'm using today. This is just medium heavy action, like 7-foot long rods, bass rods. I got 30-pound mainline braid, 3,000 size reels, and I've got that leader. I use a fluorocarbon leader. It's like 15-pound test, and it's 18 inches long, maybe. Okay, here's some skipjack over here. I saw one jumping right over here. Let's make our way. Let's go kind of this way and let's curve our way into it, loop our way in. We're getting here closer to sunrise now. You can see over there it's getting brighter over there, folks. We're gonna have a nice looking sunrise out here. Some of y'all that sleep in, you'd probably be the first sunrise you've seen in ages today. Hell, I can't, my body's trained at this point, even if I'm taking a day off, if the weather's gonna be bad or something, I can't hardly sleep in if I want to. Like today, I woke up before my alarm. I don't know how you do it. When I was a kid and teenager, hell, I could sleep 12 straight hours. Now I can't sleep that long anymore. My bladder won't let me sleep long anymore. Yeah, we're gonna have us a good day out here regardless. I hope we get us some bait first thing, some skipjack. Like I said, if not, we'll get our white bass, and then we're gonna have some fun. As they're busting right here. I'm gonna bring these spoons right beside them as we turn. But then I wanna get us some fun on the ultralight too. I'm kind of in the mood to catch some fish, buddy. I've had some rough trips lately with the catfish and the carp too. I went carp fishing yesterday, which for my regular fishing buddies on here, that'd be the last video posted. And man, it was a tough day. Like I caught some fish, but it wasn't very many. And the catfishing I've done lately has been like that. Like it's been tough to catch some catfish. So I need me a day where we can just go out and catch a ton of fish. And that's what we're gonna do when we bust out the ultralight rod. We're gonna catch several fish. We bust out the ultralight and a Gulp minnow. I don't care what we get. I don't care if it's bluegill, bass, yellow bass, whatever. I just want to I want to catch some fish, man. We got a boat up here at the dock. I hope they go the other way. Two things. As I mentioned, I don't like talking on camera around people. I'm weird about it. That bothers me. Even to this day, what we at, 8 years now doing YouTube, that still bothers me. The other thing that I really, really, really want to avoid today, if possible, is human interaction. I don't want to have to talk to anybody. I'm sure everybody that we would potentially talk to would be super nice people, but boat ramp chit chat just annoys me. I just don't want to, I don't want to have the, hey, how's it going? Catching anything? I don't, because when these guys, every time they talk, they're all bass fishermen. And if I say, yeah, I caught, 5 skipjack or 10 white bass, they're like, oh, really? Because they're out here after largemouth. They don't give a damn about nothing else. So, when you have those conversations, I almost feel like, and let's be real, most of these bass fishing guys suck. Most of them ain't gonna catch a damn thing. If they do, they're gonna catch some little 12, 13-inch bass. It ain't gonna be nothing to write home about. Ain't none of them gonna catch a trophy bass today, especially out here on this body of water. Like, I've heard of like one trophy bass, like 7, 8 pounds. I can't remember how big exactly it was. That was 3 or 4 years ago. Like, people ain't catching big bass out here on the regular, okay? But then, they ask you if you caught anything, and you tell them something other than bass, and they're like, oh, like it's frowned upon, like you're less than them. And but they can all kiss my ass. I don't care nothing about bass. If I caught a legal size bass, I'd probably throw him in the cooler. And I can't remember what a legal size bass is out here. It's either 14 or 15 inches. So I just assume, like I said, I get annoyed with that kind of just stupid chit-chat conversation. It's just not me. I'm just not that type of person. You know, if somebody wants to come up to me, and you know, I've met several viewers, people that's watching my channel, they come up to me at a boat ramp, that's fine, because that's more substance to that conversation. But just some random stranger, just the hey, how's it going? Catch anything today? Boy, it sure is hot today. You know, the stupid stuff, I just don't like it. I'm not saying I'm better than that or anything. I just know it annoys me, and I try not to put myself in that situation. When I'm loading and unloading the kayak, I keep my head down. I try not to make eye contact. I try to get done as quickly as possible so that I don't have to put myself in that situation. But sometimes you just can't avoid it. And I try to be nice and courteous, but I try to move along as quickly as possible too. But we ain't got nothing. I mean, I saw them skipjack over in that corner. I hope they come up soon, because you can see that sun's coming. Here comes another boat too. There he goes. We'll have people all over us here in a little while. Aside from the fact that I don't like talking around people, the other issue, if you get several boats, you know, in this area, it makes it hard to troll. That's why I don't typically post bait videos when I'm really on skipjack, because I don't want a bunch of people showing up, because it'll affect how I'm doing things. And with skipjack running $7, $8 a piece at these bait shops, buddy, people find out where you're catching them at, here they come. It's shoulder to shoulder. We're gonna go up just a little bit farther here and we'll turn again. Got some right here. I think that might be either carp or white bass. We may have to settle for some white bass today. I was hoping we'd already be on some skipjack. If y'all's better fishing partners, you'd done caught a whole cooler full of skipjack for me. Every time I show up and do one of these unedited, raw and uncut videos where I bring y'all with me as my fishing partners, you never show up with bait. Y'all always rely on me to supply the bait for us, every time. So I'm out here grinding for you today so we can have us something to fish with. Hopefully tomorrow. I was gonna consider going down to Alabama tomorrow, but the weather report down there, right now it's saying like 60% storms tomorrow and 70% the next day. And so I don't want to drive all the way to Alabama and get down there and not be able to fish. And we've got a chance of storms here tomorrow too, but as long as it's just kind of a scattered thing, I may be able to get out. I may be able to get us out there and find us a window between them storms or something. I just don't want to make the drive all the way down to Alabama and not get to fish. You know what I mean? Like, you drive that far, you at least want to be able to get on the water. So I do want to get down there at some point soon. I've been catching a lot of fish down there lately. The bite up here, the catfish bite's just not been very good. I don't know why. Again, it's the timing this year. It's just like the skipjack. The timing this year has just been off on everything. And I just can't get it dialed in. I've just not adapted well. But usually by now, I'm back on the catfish like really good, getting numbers, getting some better size. And I'm not on numbers or size right now. And I'm not seeing fish yet that are really marked up. Normally this time of year, we're post-spawn. Fish have come off the nest, they are beat up. Okay, here's something. Finally, y'all. Skipjack, okay. Finally, we got us one. Will you all be able to land it though? He's coming right at us, buddy. Get up in here, Skippy. There we go. Now that's what we want to see, folks. That's what we want to see right there. Glad y'all could finally catch you one here this morning. We started out with a bang, and y'all ain't been able to do diddly doo-doo since. I've been putting you on them, you just ain't been catching them. He's got that thing down in the gills too. He's gonna be bleeding like a stuck hog here if I don't get him unhooked in a hurry. Oh, crap. There it is. He's gonna be bleeding everywhere. Don't you throw blood all over me, Skipjack. There we go, we got him in the cooler. I'll try to show you here the spoon a little better now that it's light out here. That's what it is, just a curved piece of metal with a hook. You can see my leader there, I don't know, couple, 18 inches, 2 feet. I'm gonna get us on the move, get my other rod. I'm in my pedal kayak today, so when I stop to reel in a fish, the other bait, it starts falling down, but the kayak eventually comes to a stop. Let me do this. I want to try to show you how this spoon works. This water here is real clear. Hold on, let me get the screen on so I can make sure y'all are seeing. Okay. You see how it's just fluttering around, very erratic, vibrating, all that. Like, that's what it looks like going through the water. Now, color-wise, I like white. Pick your color, whatever, you know, white, a silver. I've heard people liking pink. When I'm throwing jigs, I throw a white and chartreuse color. Best color to throw, here we go again. Okay, they're feeding now. We're getting them now. They're turning on. It just took them a little while this morning. It took a little while to get them going, that's all. Come here, Skippy. These skipjack are a little smaller, you can see. I mean, they're not, these ain't no 2 and 3 pounders, but by gosh, they'll catch a catfish. But color, I mean, throw what you got confidence in. You want to match, you want to get something that kind of imitates shad, because that's what they're feeding on. Threadfin shad, that is the bulk of a skipjack's diet, is threadfin shad. So get something that's going to look like a shad, and that's going to be your white, your silver. I like chartreuse on my jigs, on the tips of my jigs, because sometimes when shad get a certain size, they get a little yellow on their tails. And you're kind of representing that with the white and chartreuse. But more than anything, if you get a color that's going to represent the shad, that's not really that important, as long as you're somewhere close to that. What is important though for skipjack, this is very important. Now I'm going to show you if we get one that spits something up today. Size. Match your bait best you can to the size of the shad they're feeding on. And that's going to vary throughout the year depending on the size of the shad. When you have the shad fry after a spawn, super tiny, but they grow quickly. And you just want to match your baits to that size best you can. When they get locked in on that size, man, it's hard to get them to eat. You'll see them busting everywhere, and if you're throwing a bait that's too big, they will not touch it. So hopefully that'll help you out there if you're new to skipjack fishing. You can cast for them, a lot of people do, get below the dams and stuff. Our dams up here where I'm at haven't produced very well in years. from the bank. The populations, I guess, just aren't as good as they are at some of the more southern reservoirs. So I typically look for them on the main lake. And trolling, in my opinion, is the best way to get on. If you're on a real thick bite, you can certainly cast for them. The rigs we're throwing today, those spoons, I mean, super lightweight. We're not going to get enough casting distance without adding a weight to the rig to be able to cast for them. And personally, I think trolling is more effective. Being able to have two baits in the water at once versus just one rod when you're casting, it's just, you're doubling your chances. Now, when I'm in my other kayak with the motor, I'll set my speed and keep going. And so as I'm reeling in a fish on one rod, the kayak's still moving and pulling the other bait at the same speed. So, you know, that'll help you. In that situation, that'll help you oftentimes catch more fish if you're maintaining that speed as you're going through a school. But out here today, you know, I feel like we're going to get enough bait in my pedal kayak here, and I enjoy fishing out of this kayak more. It's just more fun. And so we're going to fish in this kayak today. My other kayak, buddy, I need one of y'all to wash it. Y'all have got it so dirty on our previous trips, it stinks. My other kayak's white, and you wouldn't know it by looking at it right now. There ain't a speck of white on it at this point. I mean, it's got mud, algae. There's some mold growing on it. I mean, it's nasty. I went carp fishing there yesterday, and I was using a new pack bait mixture. I got some soybean meal, and that stuff's kind of messy. Like, it sticks to your hands more. And so, something hit us on there. But I made a mess with that stuff. It's all over the kayak, and so, boy, he keeps hitting it. He hit it like 3 times and didn't hook up. But anyway, I got that stuff all over the kayak, so I wouldn't be shocked if I get home today and there's ants all over the dang kayak. That's happened before. When I've either left pack bait, a bag of it in there, or just got it all over the kayak, you get ants. I left a bag I've learned not to do this. I had a bag of pack bait. I just use like a Ziploc bag. I'd left it under the kayak seat one time, and something got in my kayak. I don't know if it was a squirrel, a raccoon, a possum, I don't know. Something got in it and tore open that bag, and I had a mess all over the kayak, all over my carport. They had feasted out there on that stuff and made a mess with it. I don't know what it was. I'll blame the squirrels, because, okay. Oh, and we're getting hit right here. We're getting hit, they just ain't hooking up. I wish these people right here would go on. They're really gonna put a flaw in our slaw over there as we loop around. Hopefully they won't stay long. Most bass fishermen don't. We got 2 more coming here, though. This rod over here is getting hit now. We're getting some action. They're getting more active right here now. Just need them to hook up. I'm feeling better about it now that we got the first skipjack in here. I'm feeling a lot more confident. I still think we can grind out some white bass if we need be up by the campground here later on in the morning. But this skipjack bite lately, man, it's, as soon as the sun gets up, it's over. You got to get them quick. I haven't been out in the evenings. I don't know, it may be better in the evenings. I've had stuff to do lately. Plus, I don't want to come out with all the jet skis and pleasure boats and all that. We'll turn this right here. I'm not gonna loop this all the way around since some people's over there. I don't wanna crowd them. I wish they'd get the hell on. That way we'd go over there, we wouldn't be crowding nobody. I knew there'd be a lot of people out here today though, being a weekend. It's just part of it. Come out tomorrow and won't be nobody out here. I was hoping to do some catfishing tomorrow. There's something right there popped up. I see them just sporadically out here. They're just small packs of them out here today. That's kind of how it's been when I have got on them lately. It's not giant schools of skipjack. Like, you're not going to come up with a school that's got 50 skipjack or 100 skipjack in it. It's going to be, you're going to see a pack of 6 to 8. And you'll see them come up over here, and then 200 yards away, there'll be another pack of 6 to 8 fish come up. It's just small roaming packs versus one big school. So that's another reason why, is, you know, my opinion here, certainly. But it's another reason why I think trolling is the more effective technique right now. Because those schools are they're just really packs, just 6, 8 fish here and there, and they're so spread out and sporadic. It's easier to target them when you're trolling because they're always on the move. They're chasing that bait and constantly moving, and so you troll enough, you're eventually going to run into them, versus if you're just waiting on a school to pop up and you try to run over there real fast and make some casts to them, because the school is so small, just a few fish in it, by the time you get to them and make a cast, they're gone. And you missed your chance. And so when you're trolling, you're constantly moving, you got two lines in the water, you always got a chance. And so that's my thoughts on it anyway. But really, I mean, it comes down more than anything, just like with picking a color of your bait. It's confidence. It's a confidence thing. What is the technique that you have the most confidence in? What's the technique that you enjoy catching fish with the most? You know, for catfish, I've obviously got a lot of confidence suspending baits. I've caught a bunch of fish doing it. I've caught a bunch of big fish doing that. But I do it as often as I do because I enjoy it. It's the most fun way to catch catfish, in my opinion. So there's days that I go out catfishing where there's probably going to be a better technique on that particular day. But I go out to suspend fish because I know I've got confidence that I can catch something. And even if maybe I don't get the biggest fish that day, or don't catch as many fish that day as what I potentially would have if I was using a technique, it's usually still what I would rather do, just because of the fun factor. Now, if I'm in a tournament, or if I'm getting ready for a tournament, obviously then it's not just about having the most fun, it's about being productive. And so then you kind of got to just do whatever it takes to catch the fish that day. Or if you're getting ready for a tournament, figure out what it's going to take to catch fish on tournament day. But just a normal fun fishing trip, hell, do what you want to do. Nobody's comparing scores with you. I know, if you're like me, you go home after a lousy day of fishing and you scrolling through your social media and you see all these people posting big fish. You're like, man, the bite wasn't on today. It was a tough day, tough conditions, whatever. You make whatever excuse you want to when you've had a crummy day of fishing. And you get home and everybody in the free world has caught fish that day and posted it on social media, and you're like, man, I suck at fishing. You know? But in reality, it doesn't matter what other people are catching, how many, how big. Unless you're signed up and competing in a tournament, you are not going against anybody else. Social media is just it's a disease, really. It's a cesspool. And it's like, y'all remember when, here we go, here's another one. Another skipjack. Let's hope we keep him on. They have a tendency to spit that hook when they come flying up out of the air like that. Come in here, Skippy. There you go, buddy. Yes. Got us another one, y'all. Got us another one. Oh, calm it down, Skippy. You're caught now. You done been caught and landed. You're going in the cooler, buddy. Okay. Let's get back on the move. Yeah, I didn't see any busting over there at that point in time, but they were there. I do see some up here in front of us, though. We'll just keep heading that way. Just let out some line. Again, it really, I mean, it doesn't, you don't need to make a super long cast behind the kayak. It really don't matter. Did he sling any water on y'all? He did. He got some on my face too. Let me just clean you off there. There you are. You looking beautiful again, folks. Beautiful. Y'all look amazing today. You got your hair fixed and your makeup on and everything. Y'all are excellent YouTube co-stars today. But I was trying to say about social media and comparing yourselves to other people there on social media. If you remember back in Tiger Woods' heyday, like when he first come on the scene in golf and was just dominating tournaments, if you were into sports gambling at all, betting at all, and you know, people's got their own views on that. It's certainly more normalized, I guess, in culture today than what it was 10, 15 years ago. It's used to be, sports betting used to be kind of a taboo thing, kind of only in Vegas, and now with these online platforms and states legalizing it, figuring out they can make money off of it, then it's kind of become more mainstream. But back in the day, when Tiger Woods was just dominating golf tournaments, there would be a bet that you could make. You could take, for a tournament, you could take Tiger or the field. And the field meant, like, literally the field. Like, if anybody else except Tiger won the tournament, you would win the bet. And, you know, Tiger was obviously dominant at that point in time, so he won a lot of tournaments. But when you're on social media and you're comparing your catches to literally everybody else on social media, if you're in like a fishing Facebook group where there's a few thousand people and every day there's random people posting pictures in there of their catches, you're essentially, it's like Tiger Woods versus the field type bet. You're comparing your one day to thousands of people in that particular Facebook group. So it's just, it's not a fair bet. The odds are not in your favor. You know, I mean, if you're the Tiger Woods of catfishing, well, then, you know, by all means, take that bet. Compare yourself to everybody else. But if you're just a random person, you know, like you're like me, like I ain't no better than anybody else. I don't want to compare myself to the field. It's easy to do if you spend all day on social media just scrolling around, looking at everybody else's catches. But it's not fair to yourself, and it's you really have to look at it like that. It's that you're comparing a random day that you go out fishing to a few thousand people's personal best day. Because I mean, if you're in a group with several thousand people, a big fishing group, or if you've got 1 million people that you follow on social media, it's every day of the week is somebody's best day, right? And so you're constantly seeing that, and that's just not, it's not reality. Even for the people posting, like, they're just not going to have that day every day. They're going to have bad days too. So we got another fish here hitting that. Oh, this has got one here. We had one hit the left rod. Oh, he spit it. He spit it on that one. He come up and jumped once and spit the hook. But anyway, the point I guess I get, social media can be toxic. I hate it personally, but it can really mess with your mind if you let it. Don't take the Tiger Woods versus the field bet, especially nowadays, because his glory days are over. He's had a bunch of injuries and personal life problems, and it's, you know, you know what I mean? Like, it ain't the same Tiger Woods that there was 20 years ago. But that kind of thing's a sucker's bet anyway, so don't make that bet on yourself on social media, especially when there's nothing at stake. You know, at least with a Tiger Woods versus the field bet, if you take the field or you take Tiger and you win, you at least win something. On social media, if you have a bad day, you fish and you go home and see everybody else's catches, and you're like, man, I say, well, what's the payoff? There's no payoff. Either way, even if you have your best day of fishing and you go home and you make your post, you're just going to be, you know, people will scroll by you looking at everybody else's too. You know, it's like there's no payoff either way. So just don't let yourself go down through that mindset of comparing yourself to others. If you're a hyper competitive person and you want to compare your fishing skills to someone else's, sign up for a tournament and go do that. But just scrolling through social media, you're wasting your time, man. It's just not good for your mentality. It's really hard to beat the field on a regular basis on social media. Just hard to beat the field. Sucker's bet. Speaking of betting though, for any of y'all out there that are into it, I am a little bit, and I'm not a big time gambler. I'm too cheap for that. When I make a bet, it's $5, $10. Yeah, if I lose, and if I'm being honest, I typically lose more than I win. I take that back though. The last 2 years, football seasons, I've had winning years. So, self high five, as Diamond Dallas Page used to say. Here's the bet I think I'm going to make this year. It's a series of bets, actually. I think I'm going to bet against Aaron Rodgers every game, but I'm going to make all of the bets before the season starts. Because I just feel like I don't feel like his head's in it as much as it used to be. He's coming off that Achilles. I feel like the best point spreads you're going to get, because they're favored in damn near every game, which, you know, I mean, I really think they're going to be like a 500 team. I think I'm going to just put like $10 on every game right now before the season starts, going against Aaron Rodgers. And we'll see how that turns out. The last 2 years, how I've done well is I've picked look at them deer up there. You see them deer? Boy, them deer. I hit a deer coming up this road recently, busted up my car grill. I told that story yesterday there in my carp video. I hate deer. They're bad over here because this is government property and you can't hunt for them. So they got no, without people being able to hunt them, there's nothing to limit the population other than just nailing them with your car, which a lot of them do get nailed. But last year, Oh, fish. Hang on. Oh, crap. He spit it too. Them skipjacks, they've got hard, bony mouths. And they're high flying. You know, they come jumping up out of the air. They will spit them hooks quicker than damn it. That's why I like using the heavier tackle, that I can kind of horse them in, get them in quick, not let them play. The more you play them out and let them jump, the more likely you are to let them spit it. But the last couple years, last year, I made some Super Bowl bets pre-season. I picked 4 teams to win the Super Bowl, and well, Kansas City was one of those teams, so I nailed that. Previous year, I forget who, I had made 2 really large bets, like $100 bets. Who did I pick? I picked 2 division winners. I think it was Philadelphia, maybe, and Minnesota. I can't remember. It was 2 years ago. But anyway, both of those paid off. And so those big wins covered my other smaller losses throughout the year. But I think this year, instead of doing a big bet, I think I'm probably going to go against Aaron Rodgers in all the games. So you Jets fans out there, you Aaron Rodgers fans can hate, and I'm not against Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a really good quarterback, but I think he's just a little overrated at this point in his career, and I'd like to take advantage of that. That idea is not mine, by the way. I just thought it was a really good idea. I heard that on Colin Cowherd back 2 months ago, probably. He was talking about what a good idea that would be to just pre-season, while they're favored in damn near every game, just to bet against them. And I thought, that's a pretty good idea. Like, I'm gonna maybe take that. So I got to put me some money in the DraftKings. I withdrew my winnings there at the end of last football season. I don't bet on nothing else. I don't do baseball or hockey or basketball or anything. I mean, when me and the girlfriend went out to Las Vegas there in the winter, we bet a couple games just because you're out there in Vegas, you know. It's just, why not? Win in Rome. But here's what I mostly like doing. If I'm gonna bet a game, I like to watch the game. I'm not good enough. One hit us. I got one hitting us again. Nope, on that rod. Now we're going through a school. Got hit on both rods. There he is. There he is. Oh, and he spit it. Dadgummit. Lord, these guys out in the middle of the damn lake now. We got a guy on the bank over here on this side too. We're going to have to just circle around. So there's another boat up here at the dock. And a guy fishing off the dock. Gets hard to navigate when you get a bunch of boats on the water. It's hard to troll. They're just out here casting at random. Godspeed. Maybe they'll catch something, probably won't. But if I'm gonna bet on a game, I wanna watch it. It just makes it a little bit more exciting. I'm not gonna bet just to bet. Usually I'm not good enough at gambling to do that. I'd heard a stat that was interesting though. I think it was Colin Cowherd that said it. Because he's big time talking head there on TV and whatnot, and so he's got inside information and everything on the insides of like DraftKings and FanDuel, or is it FanDuel? Whatever. I'm on DraftKings. I forget what the other thing is, but there was always fear if sports gambling was legalized, it would create a bunch of gambling addiction problems. Kind of like alcoholism and other vices. There's going to be people that take it way too far and go in debt and lose their house and and all that, you know, over gambling, and there was fear it would be widespread. But the funny statistic to me, and I don't have no reason, obviously don't have access to those numbers to verify it, but I don't have any reason to believe that Colin Cowherd would be lying about it. But he said the average bet on DraftKings is $4. And so, you know, you ain't going in, you ain't losing your house over $4 bets. And that seems to be on line with, or on par with, you know, my bets, which are usually $5, $10. And, you know, my handful of friends that gamble a little bit, theirs kind of the same way, $5, $10. They might make one really big bet a year at $50, $100 or something. So, yeah, it's a fun thing. I like football. I'm a big football fan. And gives it a little something extra. Y'all might hear me talking about some football on here as we get into football season. I know that'll run some people off, but most of my audience is men. Most of my audience is in the Southeast, and, well, if you're a man in the Southeast, chances are you either like some college team or you got a pro team you like. Chances, I mean, it's just statistically speaking, so. You may hear me ramble on a little bit about it throughout the coming months. Hopefully Tennessee will sneak into one of them 12 college playoff spots this year. That's what I'm hoping for. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. SEC certainly got harder with Texas and Oklahoma joining, but the odds of getting into a 12-team playoff, much better than a 4. Don't have to be a mathematician to figure that out, so we'll see how it goes. The good thing about being a football fan before the season starts is everybody's got hope and optimism. It's not till you get that first look at how the team's going to play when the season starts that you realize that, well, maybe we ain't as good as what I'd hoped. And being a Tennessee fan every year, it usually don't take long to realize the team ain't going to live up to the hype. The joys of being a UT fan. We were good in 98 though, buddy. 1998 was our year. Since 1998, if you're taking Tennessee versus the field, take the field. Take the field. I don't care how long the odds are, take the field. I'd take the field again this year too if I was making that bet. It'd be you'd have to put up $1 million to win $1, but by gosh, it's worth it. There's a crow back there hollering at you. He says you better catch you some skipjack fast. That sun's, it's cloudy. It's a cloudy day, but the sun's getting up now. I wish we didn't have all these damn boats out here, man. We got the guy on the bank over here in the corner. We got that boat just randomly coming out through here casting. Another boat's coming down that bank where they were. We just got so many people out here. I'd like to be kind of going up and down, up and down. We're doing figure eights out here going in and out this area, but it's hard to go up by the boat ramp when people keep putting in. We got another pontoon about to put in over there. And then these guys out here in the damn middle, and over here on the left, there seems like there's a bunch of debris in the water. Every time we've come up on this side, it's like a bunch of limbs and sticks and stuff. So it's gonna be hard, here we go. It's gonna be hard to troll through that stuff. You know, the skipjack. They are not in here thick. It is a sporadic bite, but we're getting them. You know, we're getting them here and there, and you do this long enough, and you grind it out, man. You just grind it out. Another one. Getting that cooler there, Skippy. All right. Threw right over that damn stick right there. Let me do that again. I about knocked y'all out of my chest when I made that cast. Yeah, I don't know if you can see on the water up here or not, but there's all kinds of crap up there. And you just cannot troll. The spoons come through it. Oh good, that boat's finally leaving. We're rid of him. Good. Got rid of one. Now if we can, at least maybe now we can go up this way a little more. These spoons come through stuff pretty good. But if you've got grass on the water, you're going to catch it. And you'll know if you've got something because if you pick up something big, obviously your rod's going to bend. But if you pick up a piece of grass or something, I don't know if you can see with the camera, it's maybe that way be easier to look at. You can see your rod tips kind of vibrating a little bit, if you will, as that spoon moves. If you pick up a piece of grass, it's going to stop vibrating, and so you'll know. If you're just watching your rod tips, you'll be able to see that something's not right. But yeah, I don't know why we've got all this stuff on the water on the left side. It must have just been the way the wind was blowing last night or something. It's got everything kind of pushed over there. Thankfully, this area to the right is pretty well clear. There's not much over here at all right now, so we're good over here. I'm gonna try to go up a little bit farther here before that pontoon cuts in. I feel like we're getting enough skipjack. I don't know that we really need to get over there toward the campground and swimming area to try to get white bass at this point. I feel like if we just keep working through here, we'll pick off a skipjack here and there and be able to get what we need. Fishing out of the kayak, especially this kayak, when I'm catfishing out of it, I don't need as much bait as these fellas in boats that are running 8, 10, 12 rods. If I'm in this kayak, I fish 2 rods. If I'm in my other one, I usually 4. You just don't go through as much bait. These people that are buying their bait though, they're paying $7, $8 a piece for frozen skipjack. Man, I don't know. It'll cost you $2 every time you bait a hook. I just wouldn't. I'd quit catfishing. I'm too cheap for that. Now, granted, I've got time invested coming out here, catching bait, and a little bit of money too. I mean, figure in gas, you figure in your tackle, but you don't lose much tackle skipjack fishing. Occasionally, if your line's weak, then you've run the same leader for a month, you'll break off or something. But spoons, Catfish Sumo sells those in a 4-pack. I think it's like, what, $11, $12 for a 4-pack. I mean, they're cheap. It's a cheap lure. If you're using jigs, again, what's a jig head and plastic cost? Quarter, 50 cents you got in it. I mean, it don't cost much money to go skipjack fishing. It's just they're a pretty cheap fish to fish for. It ain't like bass where you're gonna have a tackle box full of lures that are all $5 to $10, $15 a piece with spinner baits, chatter baits, crankbaits, etc. Skipjack, you need jigs and spoons, and that's it. If you like being frustrated and having a miserable day, you can use sabiki rigs and spend all day picking out tangles. But you stick with jigs, you can catch a ton of skipjack throughout the year. If you add in spoons, you can catch a bunch more. Like, again, this time of year, right now, it's been a spoon bite for me, but most of the time, I'm gonna catch them on jigs. So, you stick with them 2 baits, you catch all the skipjack you want. Very simple, very minimal tackle. I'll show you. This might be interesting to some of you. Get my life jacket. This is my skipjack pack right here. You can see here's them trout magnets I was using there on the last video bait run we filmed. But I've got some spoon rigs already tied up. I've got some just jig heads, 2 jig head rigs already tied up. They're in little baggies in there, so everything's ready to go. And I keep my plastics in there. And it's all in a sandwich baggie. I compress it down. I keep it in my life jacket. So doing it like this, keeping it in my life jacket, it don't matter what kayak I'm in, or sometimes I'll fish off the bank for skipjack, depending on time of year and where I'm getting them at. I'll always got my skipjack tackle with me, because my life jacket's always in my car, so even if I'm bank fishing, it's in there. But it don't matter what kayak I'm in, I'm always prepared. I did that because I've had problems in the past where I'd have my skipjack stuff in one kayak, and the next time I go out, I'm in my other kayak, and I show up, get on the water, and you're like, oh crap, all my tackle's in the other kayak. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep it on me. And with the minimal tackle you need, you don't take up much space. I mean, literally, I can fit everything in a sandwich bag and stick it in my life jacket. So you don't have to carry the whole tackle box, kitchen sink. You remember back in the 80s, when I was a kid, everybody had one of them big tackle boxes, like big Plano tackle boxes. And it had the latches and open up, and you'd have these trays that popped out on each side, and everybody'd carry all their lures in there and stuff. You just, man, for skipjack, you just don't need it. We're gonna come back over here now. That boat is going back to the dock. The other guys left, and the bank fishermen left. So maybe we got a little window of time here where we can really just work anywhere we want in this area. There's a million people up there at the dock. Are they all getting in that pontoon? Oh, something hit that right on. Oh, he hit it again. Is he gonna get it? He's hit it 4 times now. Hit it a 5th time and you're gonna get it. Hit that damn thing 4 times and didn't hook up. Yeah, we're just gonna circle all the way around here though. The other thing about skipjack fishing, in addition to the tackle itself being minimal that you need, the other thing about it is if you're in a kayak, you don't need anything other than a rod. Well, you really don't even need rod holders, because most of these fishing kayaks have rod holders built in, like right here, for instance. We got that built-in rod holder right there. Now, I don't use them. I could, but I generally like keeping my rods in front of me. That way, they're easier to grab when we get a fish. And also, too, if you get a piece of grass or a stick or something, you know about it. You're not just pulling along with your bait not running right. You can see your rod tip not acting right. So you can go ahead and get it. But, as far as your kayak setup and all that, if you want to do this style of fishing, you don't really need anything. Get your kayak, put you a couple rod holders up there up front if you want to. That's all you need. The graph, it's a hood ornament today. We're not even using it. Don't need to, because I know pedaling, we're going to keep us at the speed we need to go. So you don't need no fish finder, no batteries, no special accessories at all, just rod holders, man. And you can do this if you're paddling. You can do it, you can paddle. in that 2 to 3 mile an hour range. Now you may have to keep your rods behind you if you're paddling, because as you make your paddle strokes forward, depending on how far in front of you your rod holders are, you may possibly hit the rod or rod holder with your paddle blade. The other thing is, if you put your rod holders too far forward in front of you, your line is going to come back. It's going to kind of come back and in toward you, and you may hit your line with your paddle. So you're going to need, if you're going to paddle and try to troll like this, you may want to get longer rods, just to keep so you can keep them forward and keep your lines out where you're not going to hit it with the paddle blade. But it can be done. I mean, I paddled for a long time before I got my first pedal kayak, and it's doable. There was something splashing right yonder there. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly doable. You can do this on a minimal budget for sure. The money you save by not buying skipjack for a year at these bait shops at $7, $8 a piece will damn near get you a kayak and all the tackle you need to catch them your damn self. It can be frustrating though when you putting in the time and not getting them. It can be real frustrating. Or you troll around all day and you just need 2 or 3 skipjack, man. You just need enough to get you going, and you only hook 2 or 3 the whole daggone day, and then they all spit the hook or something. Oh, that'll just gripe your hind end to no end, man. But some days are like that, but it all averages out. It all averages out in the end. You put the time in, and some days better than others. Sometimes you load up and it's super easy, and some days you got to grind, and some days you just don't find them. But it all works out in the end. You do it long enough, you'll eventually get to how I've kind of been, where you can kind of pattern them and know where they're going to be and when. Now, granted, again, this year's kind of been a little weird. It's been a little off, but most of the time it's pretty consistent. Some places are better than others, though. I mean, you find there's some dams along the Tennessee River, especially the farther south you go, like you can get them spring through fall there every day. And up here, used to be like that when I was a teenager. Used to be like that, but now, the last several years at the dams, they're just not there very much for very long. So, everything cycles. I don't know why that is. I don't know if we've had just spawning issues, or is it just the demand for skipjack? So many people taking them out, all the bait dealers stuff. I don't know. I'm not a fisheries biologist. They put in those restrictions. I can't remember how many years ago. Been a few years. Used to there was no limits whatsoever on skipjack. It was however many catch you keep. And then a few years ago, they went to 100 per person per day, which people skirt around that real easy. These bait dealers will get their wife and kids out there on the boat with them. So now you got 4 people on the boat, you can keep 400. And a lot of them don't even give a damn. They'll just keep as many as they want, or as many as they can catch, because they know ain't nobody gonna catch them. We don't have any game wardens in East Tennessee out checking coolers and stuff, so it's like going down the interstate. The speed limit sign can be 55, but if there ain't no cops out there enforcing it, everybody's doing 70, 75. So that's kind of how it is with the skipjack, in my opinion. There's too much money in it. When bait shops getting $7, $8 a piece, and people are keeping their freezers cleaned out because the demand's so high, like, these bait dealer guys gonna take advantage of it. Most of them will sell them to these bait shops. They'll sell them for $1, $2 a piece to the bait shops, and you know, so it's profitable for them. And then of course the bait shops they're tripling their investment, what they're paying and what they're getting for them. So it's a racket, man. Catfishing's gotten a lot more popular the last few years, and people need bait. And I get it, man. If you're somebody and you work all the daggone time and you get 1 or 2 days off from work and family stuff that you can actually go fishing, do you want to spend that time catching bait, or do you just want to spend it catfishing? And so I get the appeal of just being able to just go spend a little money, buy your bait, and not have to worry about it. I get it. I totally get the appeal. But there's enough people. There's some busting right over there. Not seeing, boy, I tell you, since that sun come up, well, right here. I was gonna say, I ain't seen many schools busting since the sun's getting higher. Just got another one right here. Seems like most of the fish we're getting are right in here. We need to focus on this area a little more. Come in, Skippy. Come in here. Oh, he popped off. He dehooked himself. This fish is hired. He's the official fish dehooker. There we go. Another Skippy. I think we need to focus on this area a little more. We seem to be kind of getting bit right up in through here. This side right here, up kind of this line, we got hit a few times going across through there on that last pass. Let's circle up here and come back and kind of key in on this area a little bit. But yeah, I get it, you know, if you're short on time and got 1 or 2 days, 3 days a month to fish, well, hell, if you got the funds to go and spend $50 at the bait shop to get you a few skipjack, well, by all means, I get it. I'm just too much of a cheap ass to want to spend that money at the bait shop on frozen skipjack, especially when you don't know how the skipjack were taken care of. Some of these guys, they're selling these bait shops, man, they're, you know, again, they're getting $1 to $2 a piece from the bait shop. So how good a care are they taking of your skipjack that you're buying? Are they catching them and immediately putting them on ice? Or are they just sticking them in a dry cooler all day and then getting home, wrapping them up at night, taking them to the bait shop? Like, what kind of condition are those skipjack in before they get froze? You don't know. You know, you don't have a clue. You just hoping for the best, and the guys at the bait shop, they don't give a damn. They don't care because they know they're going to sell regardless. And so it's just, I don't have much trust for people. And so between that and being cheap, it's just hard for me to want to buy bait. If there was a bait that you could buy for, you take something like chicken, for instance. Now, I'll use chicken for channel cats up there on Sandusky Bay. Desperate times, I might use it a couple times a year, you know, here at home. But if there was a bait that you could use for catfish that was reasonably priced and readily available and worked well, you know, I'm not talking, but, you know, I know there'll be somebody getting my comment box. Well, I caught a 100-pounder on a hot dog. People have done it. People catch big fish on pieces of chicken and hot dogs and livers and all that. They catch them every year doing that. But they don't do it consistently. It's more of a, you know, it's one of them things, like you scroll through Facebook or social media, Instagram, you type in big catfish chicken or something, you'll see a million pictures. But those are usually just kind of sporadic catches. It's not the guys who are going out and catching big fish consistently. They are using a bait that is native to the waters that they're fishing. Here in the South, it's usually skipjack. Here we go. But it could be bluegill, could be crappie. Oh, he spit it. Saw him come up, take the flying leap, and gone. But that's another one hooked right in here. Let's work this area a little bit thoroughly. See if we can't get on a few more right here. Now we kind of know where they're at. Don't know why they're here. Not really seeing them busting, but they're apparently here. But I mean, if there was a bait that you could buy at a reasonable price that I had full confidence I could go out and catch a trophy fish any day of the week if I got it in front of them, I probably would buy it. You know, I got no problem buying carp bait because I know I can go and spend $10 on supplies for carp and get a full day's worth of fishing in on $10. So if I could spend $10 and get a full day worth of catfishing in, I'd do it. But I can't. Because if I go buy frozen skipjack at $7 or $8 a piece, and I get on, you know, I'm going to need a few. Because if you're catching fish, obviously you're going to go through one skipjack very quickly. And if you're on a school of dinks, man, they're going to strip your hooks and chew up them baits very quickly. So let's say you just need 4 or 5 skipjack. You know, that's $40 every time you go fishing. It gets a little bit, you know, that's a little bit unreasonable. If I could spend $10 like I do with carp, I'd totally do it. But just haven't figured out what that magic bait is that you can buy yet. And listen, if you want to fish with chicken, you do you, man. You know, a lot of people have success. I catch a lot of fish when I use chicken. I just don't catch big fish with it. I know people have, and again, you go through social media, you'll see a million fish caught on chicken, big fish. But it's the exception, not the rule. It's not a consistent thing, with the exception of maybe some bodies of water. Obviously, Sandusky Bay, channel catfishery, trophy channel cats up there. But you can go up there with chicken and have a reasonable expectation of catching a trophy fish. Santee Cooper's another place that over there, the chicken works really well. But most bodies of water, it just doesn't. At least not for trophy size fish. And you will find, and this is true with every bait, you will find baits that work better on some bodies of water than others. You take something like bluegill, for instance. I've had more comments in my comment box on YouTube about bluegill than any other bait. People love bluegill. I don't do well with it on the Tennessee River. But some places you go, especially bodies of water that don't have skipjack, that don't have white bass, bluegill's an excellent bait. But it's every body of water is a little different. And so you just have to take that in consideration and figure out what works best on the body of water that you're fishing. You know, that's the key. Is you can watch people like me on YouTube and other YouTubers, TikTokers and stuff, and see what we're using. And I've had people, man, and I get this message all the time on the comments is, can I pay you to ship me some skipjack? And you know, I'm not a bait dealer. I'm not gonna do that. But there are people who will ship. I know a guy here locally I'm friends with. He ships skipjack. He's got a bait dealer license, and he ships them. But by God, you pay out the ass for it. I mean, it's ridiculous, and people will buy these skipjack, have them shipped, and use them in bodies of water where they don't exist. And then they're like, well, I tried skipjack, didn't do any good on it. Well, they ain't there. Them fish ain't used to eating that. You might catch some fish on it, but it's going to be kind of like using chicken, I feel like. Yeah, you might get some fish to eat it, but is it going to be their preferred bait when it's not something that they have regularly? Probably not. You know, so I don't, you know, if you don't have skipjack in your body of water, I personally wouldn't fool with it. Here we go. I saw them fish up there. I knew we'd probably go through them. Oh, Skippy, if we can keep him hooked up. Think we'll keep him on? These spoons, I will say this about the spoons, is you typically have fish, I don't want to jinx it. This one's actually hooked he's hooked on the outside of the nose right there. These spoons, when you do hook a fish with the spoon, they don't spit the hook as frequently as they do when you're using jigs. And I don't know if that's just with how they eat it, if it's due to the hook, I don't know. But they don't seem to spit it as often. Your landing percentage, I guess, would be what I'm trying to say, is better with the spoon. Hooking percentage, getting them to eat the bait better with the jigs most of the year. But the landing percentage, better with the spoons. Fish flung water all over my face. He got you a little bit, didn't he? You gotta holler when you need your face cleaned off here now. I can't be reading minds or anything. I'm hoping this sun, I mean with the clouds, I should say, I'm hoping the clouds buy us some more time out here today with this surface activity. I'm not seeing very much of it now, not like we were first thing, but they are still here and feeding, and I'm hoping the clouds, keeping that sun blocked, is extending our bite a little bit. I think we're supposed to have some rain and storms this evening. So, I got another one. It hit me on that right rod right there. They come up and they nail it. They don't hook up all the time. It's like they nip at it. Sometimes when you cast and you'll see them fish, and you'll see, if you're running it through a school, you'll see multiple fish. Like they come up, this one misses, this one misses, this one misses. You'll just see them swiping at it. They're usually pretty, I mean, if they're actively feeding and you run it through them and you're the right size bait through them, they're usually pretty aggressive. Like they'll go after it. Skipjack are an aggressive fish. I don't know this to be true because I'm not a fisheries biologist or anything. But I would assume skipjack probably have to eat more, they would probably have to eat more shad or more food to maintain their body weight than most fish do. And the reason I say that is because skipjack are always moving. You never see skipjack just hanging out, just suspended, sitting still. You don't see that with skipjack. Like you take a largemouth bass, you might see a largemouth bass, he might be just hanging out on a stump, just sitting there, perfectly still, just waiting. You see crappie, man, crappie will be out, even if they're in open water or something, be sitting there. Or they'll be on a tree, just sitting there, not burning any energy. They're just suspended. Catfish, if they're hunkered down on bottom, they're just sitting there. skipjack always moving. They're always burning energy, burning calories. So I would assume they have to eat more. And skipjack, while they are a predator fish, chasing shad, eating shad and all that, they are also prey. They are on the menu for mostly striped bass. Undoubtedly, I'm sure there's catfish that will get them occasionally. Skipjack are pretty fast. So I don't know that a catfish is chasing them down like a striped bass can. But they are prey too. So not only are they chasing, but they're also running. So they're just always on the move. I would assume some largemouth probably get them too, especially the smaller ones. Once they get the size we're catching today, once they get that big, probably not many largemouth bass in this body of water are going to be able to eat the size of skipjack that we've caught today. And probably choke to death trying. But this body of water does have striped bass. It's got muskie too, so definitely striped bass and muskie are definitely going to be eating some skipjack the size that we've caught today. We get over here on this side, there ain't nothing going on. Right here on this side of the dam up to that buoy, that's where they're hanging out at today. And that's something you got, I mean, I know from recent trips out here, recent bait runs, that the skipjack have kind of been down here by the dam lately, and the white bass been up by the ramp and the swimming hole. But every day's a little bit different. You know, today we're kind of getting these skipjack over here. Come out tomorrow, they'll probably still be here in this area, but they may be on the other side. Or, you know, I think the last bait run that I filmed, I'm pretty sure we were getting them in the other corner over here, if memory serves me. So, I mean, every day's a little bit different, but if you keep your eyes open and you cover enough water, you can kind of get them dialed in and then focus on that area where you're at. Like, when we get over here, I'm probably not going to go back to the other side over here. There's really no point at this point, because we're just not getting anything over there. We're not getting touched. So we're just going to focus on this area here where we keep getting hit and make a few more laps, see if we can get some more, and then I'm going to bust out the Ultralight and probably throw it for an hour or two. Just have me some fun, catch me a bunch of fish. This is fun too, don't get me wrong, this is fun too. But I want to have me some fun on that Ultralight today. We've really caught a break right now. All the boats have left. There's nobody. We've got this whole area to ourselves finally. I can talk freely, and we're not having to adjust our pattern or our troll to accommodate any boats. The stars have aligned right now. There was a big splash. Yeah, right in here is where they seem to be hanging out. Not seeing any surface activity at all. That don't mean they ain't there. Bear with me a second, y'all. I'm parched. I had the cottonmouth talking to y'all. If I could get you to talk back, it wouldn't be so taxing on me to carry on this conversation, but I can't get a word out of you. Y'all are like a damn therapist, what you are. I just need me a couch to lay on while I talk and y'all listen. You need you a pair of glasses and a notepad and a fireplace. Ain't that what all shrinks have? They got an office with a fireplace and some books on a shelf somewhere, a leather couch. That's what you need. That Osprey up there says he needs one of them skipjack that we've been catching. There he goes. I'm surprised we ain't seen no bald eagles out here today. We've got a couple of them, a pair It's got a nest somewhere here around the dam because I see 2 of them regularly. I ain't seen them yet today. Yeah, I'm gonna troll up here to this buoy and turn. We'll go right back through here. We'll do this a few more times, go up and down through here. I don't know how many skipjack we've got now. We got, what, 3 white bass right there to start? We could go, I don't necessarily want to do it right now, but even though I'm not seeing white bass busting up there, the bite slows down for them too. As the sun gets higher up, it gets later in the morning, it's a pretty quick bite for them also, but we could probably slow down, let them spoons fall a little farther down, and still pick off a few going by the swimming hole and boat ramp there. The wind's picking up a little bit, and it seems to be moving that debris that we were seeing over here on the left. It's kind of moving it this way. I hope we don't get it in our lines. Like I said, the spoons pull through stuff pretty well. If you come through some grass or some algae or stuff like that, you're usually gonna catch it, unfortunately. Is that eagle right there? Did I just conjure him up, or is that osprey coming back? I can't see with the position he's at right now. He don't want us to see either. He's flying away. Hell with him. He didn't want to be on this video. He said he ain't coming on this video unless I pay his appearance fee, and we've done established I'm cheap. I won't even buy bait. I ain't paying no appearance fee for a eagle or osprey, whatever he is. It is clouding up pretty good. I hope we don't get rained on while we out here. I mean, we're close to the car. We can make a run if we need to. But I didn't bring an umbrella or a rain jacket or nothing. I think though, when we get done with this, I've been getting some big bluegill well, the last time I bluegill, most recently I've come out here, I've just been coming out to try to get some bait real quick. But the last time I come out with the Ultralight, we got some big bluegill over here. So I want to try to get some of them again today. I love me some bluegill, man. They're just such an underrated fish. People quit fishing for them as adults because they are easy to catch. But I don't, and I see this too with catfishing and some people in the carp. I wouldn't say it's the carp fishermen saying, but you see cat fishermen saying this about carp. They say if there's no challenge to it, they want to try to knock you down like you're inferior or something. And personally, I'm not necessarily looking for a challenge when I go fishing. I want to have fun. You know what I mean? Like I'm not necessarily looking for a challenge. And the same guys that say this, that want to try to knock you down because you're bluegill fishing or you're carp fishing or something that's, doesn't necessarily take as much skill as far as casting or a technique of some kind. You know what them same guys are doing when they go out fishing? You know what they are? Every damn one of them sitting in a boat. You know what I mean? Like, slide your 300-pound fat ass in a kayak. If you want a challenge, go out and do that. But they just want to knock people down because they like catching bluegill, a kid's fish, or they like carp fishing, something that's going to eat a plant-based bait of some kind. You know, it's just, it's people with small egos, small confidence levels, insecurity. That's the people that's doing that. I find those people annoying. Another guy's pulled up on us over here. He's a good ways back, but he's pulled up in the middle out here. I don't know what he's up to. Is this one here running right? Yeah. That's another thing you can do. If you're unsure if your spoon's running right, pick up on it and pull it forward, you'll feel it vibrating. If it's got a piece of grass on it, it won't do that. You'll feel it. A little concerned though, we've went up, we've come down, no bites. Not seeing anything. They're probably still here. They could have moved deeper. Could just be not feeding. Well, I'll say that, and there comes something splashing. I don't know what he was. That wasn't no skipjack, but. Yeah, but lately it's been, that sun peeks up over them trees and hits the water, it's over. And the sun didn't hit the water today because of the clouds, but time of day, I mean, it's time of day still the same. How long have we been at this now? Hour and a half. We got quite a few in this short period of time. It's not been a lights out bite or anything, but I mean, we've grinded and we've got enough. Got enough to catch some catfish with. Assuming I can put us on some catfish. It'd be nice if you'd put me on some catfish once in a while. I've been struggling lately. I don't know where I'm gonna go tomorrow. I mean, if I'm not gonna drive to Alabama, I really don't want to drive far around here if the weather's going to be kind of sporadic rain and storms and whatnot. I don't want to drive a long ways and not get to fish. Same thing with going to Alabama. You know, I don't want to. If I'm going to leave the house, I want to be able to fish. I want to get somewhere and have to turn around. I saw something over here to the right. Let's try to circle out here. I'd like to just make a long pass at this point, just straight up the middle here, and then come around through that swimming hole one time maybe. This boat's just sitting out here in the middle of the lake. I don't know what he's doing. I never understand people. Either way, this bite that we were catching them right through here, it seems to be petering out. Whether they've moved or they're just kind of turning off. Either way, we're just not getting the results right now. And you'll notice my confidence will start to wane the later it gets in the morning. Now, we bust out the Ultralight and the Gulp, we'll catch that. We can catch fish like that all day. But my confidence will wane on the skipjack for sure here the later it gets in the morning. It's just, I've just been there and done that too many times. It's like a switch, man, it just turns off. I am still seeing an occasional splash out here. They're kind of out here in the middle, seems like. Let's keep going up through here. See what happens. Maybe come back or cut across maybe. That could be what we do. Cut across by the swimming area, troll up there, cut back over, and fish our way back down the bank this way with the ultralight possibly. That ain't the worst idea I've ever heard. Let me get me another drink here, y'all. I'm cotton-mouthed, something terrible. I was listening to a podcast with Colin Cowherd. It wasn't his show. Somebody else was interviewing him. And he was talking about the challenges of doing, his TV shows 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday. And he was talking about the challenges of doing 3 hours of TV 5 days a week. And undoubtedly it is. But I was thinking, like, his show's 3 hours. Commercial breaks make up a big portion. What is it like? TV shows, a 30-minute TV show's only 22 minutes, right? Because you got 8 minutes of commercials. So an hour TV show, you're looking at 44 minutes basically of content. And the third hour of his show, they replay the opening segment of the show. So there's like another 10 minutes of it gone. Mix in that with just some guests he's going to have on to interview throughout the day. Like, it's really the content that he has to come up with, the talking material for him to actually speak on in that 3 hours is probably, an hour's worth over the whole show? And so I'm listening to him talking about how difficult that is, and I'm like, here I am, man. I come out here on the water. I talk to my damn self for 3, 4, 5 hours at a time. No damn commercial breaks. There's no guests for me to interview. Yeah, I'm like, maybe this job that I'm doing is more challenging than what I give it credit for. I just come out here and just flap my damn gums, I mean, he was talking about it like it was a... And I'm sure there's challenges and whatnot. Of course, he's more, being on TV, he's more restricted on things he can say and topics and whatnot. I can pretty much go down any rabbit hole I want to go down. If an occasional cuss word slips out, it might offend some of you in the audience, but it's not going to get me fined by the people that regulate TV like it would him. So, I don't know, man, just fascinating. I enjoy his show, though. He's my favorite talking head on the sports world. That guy that was waiting out here, he's already done for the day. There we go, all right. Oh, and he spit it. Right out here in the daggone middle, man. Middle of the lake. Hooked him right there. So this area here, I mean, we're looking at 50, 60 feet deep here where we're at. Middle of the lake. But they're up near the surface out here. I'm gonna swing us over though and kind of make a pass over here by the swimming hole and see what happens. See if we don't pick up a white bass or something. We were on them white bass first thing, wasn't we? I mean, as soon as we hopped in the kayak, we had 2 of them within just 3 or 4 minutes there. Like they were thick, biting on fire. Right there by the ramp first thing. We wouldn't have even needed to launch the kayak to catch the white bass. We could have done it right there off the dock. And if the skipjack were in that corner down there, we could have certainly got them off the bank. But if they're not, like where they were today, there's no way to bank fish for them. where they were at today, and you certainly can't do it out here when they're in the middle of the dang lake. Check this rod again. Yeah, it's still good, just didn't look right. Yeah, I think I want to go up here by the swimming hole. Let's make one pass through here, see if we get a white bass or two. Loop back down the middle, come up kind of left side middle, and we'll start over here at this pocket with the ultralight and just kind of fish our way back down toward the car. I think that's going to be the plan. I got to throw that ultralight a little bit today. I just got to. It's just, I need to catch some fish. The catfish and the carp have let me down so much the last few trips out. I gotta, if you need to redeem yourself and kind of boost your confidence, the best way to do it's with an ultralight. You can always count on an ultralight bite. Even if it's a bluegill, they won't let you down. I've said it a million times, I'm gonna say it again right now. Everything's fun on that ultralight. Everything. Except channel cat. Channel cats are never fun because then they're gonna get your line all messed up. They fight hard on the ultralight, but I could do without them. We don't want to catch no channel cat today. I'm honestly surprised that we didn't get any largemouth trolling over there by the dam. I'm really surprised about that. I've been getting them on my bait runs lately. I've been picking them off every trip. This is the first trip we ain't got a largemouth in a while. Them bass love the spoons. I ain't seeing nothing going on over here though. There ain't no activity. I'd say them white bass are a little deeper by now. Same area, I'm sure, but probably just down a little deeper. We're going over the top of them with the spoon. Yeah, we'll cut back over here, go up the middle, make our way over. I don't know how many skipjack somebody was probably counting, but I wasn't. We got enough though, I feel like. Between that and the 3 white bass, like I got enough for catfishing. Yeah, there's definitely less debris on this side than that left side. It won't affect us none ultralight fishing though, but I'm glad we didn't see fish busting all over on that left bank, because there wouldn't have been no way we could have trolled it with as much stuff as in the water. We'd have had a problem on our hands. Leaf blower, man. I can't, even over here at a damn campground and park, I can't avoid leaf blower, man. Y'all hear him up there? I got the fancy pants microphone on today. It's hopefully drowning a lot of it out, but it don't matter where I go. Leaf blower man, chainsaw man, lawnmower man, they're dependable. Everywhere you go. You know what ain't dependable right now though is these fish on the skipjack stuff. They're done. I'm not seeing anything out here happen. Like it's over, man. It's just that point in the morning. You got 30 minutes, an hour window. And you know, where we at now on this? We're damn near 2 hours in and it's done. It's done. But you know what? Oh, well, I say that, look right here. Oh, he dropped it. That fish was like, I'll show you, Justin. Don't you dare say I'm done. I got hit again right there. Something's gonna hit that thing. He's hit it again. And we're on some out here in the middle again. We'll just keep making our way up the middle here until we get to this edge. There's a little pocket goes here to the left, and we'll start there at the entrance of it and fish our way down that bank for the bluegill or bass or whatever we can catch that ultralight. Well, and you know what? We may get some more skipjack or some white bass over there too, if there happens to be any over there. They'll eat that Gulp minnow. So, ain't no telling what we'll hook into today. I was excited. I forgot to look it up last night. Yesterday I was carp fishing and I got a sucker. And I don't know what kind of sucker it is. It was a lighter color. I don't think it was a red horse sucker. And I'm not familiar enough with the sucker species to know what's what. I'm sure with that, again, that video was filmed yesterday, so that would have been the last video that come out. I'm sure somebody has probably commented on that video by the time, you know, you're seeing this and have identified that specific species of sucker. But I was going to look it up last night and forgot. I got to reading a book, which I know is probably me reading a book. I'm trying to think of the last book I read. I can't remember, but it doesn't happen often that I'm reading. Well, I mean, I read all the time, I guess, social media stuff and whatnot, but you know what I mean, like an actual physical book. But I started reading this book called Cabbages and Cason, or Cason. I'm not sure how to say the other word. It's a book that was written by a local author, and it's kind of a history book that goes along with a diary from the Civil War era. So this family lived pert near close to where I grew up back in the Civil War days. And this, what the hell is that? You all hear that mess? I hope that's not going to get me copyright dinged. Somebody's got the damn polka or something going on over there. Lord Almighty. Must be a birthday of some sort or part, I don't know. They need to turn that crap down though. All these campers don't want to hear that. Anyway, this book, this local author got access to this diary, and it was a 20-year-old girl at the time she started writing this diary. And she was doing these diary entries during the Civil War. And again, her family lived very close to where I grew up. I mean, just a few miles away. So it's fascinating just from a personal perspective of what was going on, kind of where I grew up during that era. And so the book, her diary entries, kind of give you some insight into what the average common person was experiencing during the war. Like, you know, when you watch a Civil War documentary or a story about the Civil War, it's always about the battles. It's always about the soldiers. What you don't hear about in these documentaries is what was the day-to-day life like for just a regular citizen, somebody that wasn't a soldier. What was life like for them during that time? So it's very fascinating, and the fact again that she was living very close to where I grew up it was fascinating. So anyway, I started reading that book, and the author has done a good job. So it's not just her diary entries. What the author is doing is they're like taking her diary entries, and like say you'll read November 20th, 1861, right? And you'll read her diary entry. And then the author under that will elaborate, because the language has obviously changed a lot from back then to now. So if there's some reference to something that me or you would have no clue what the hell this girl was talking about, because it's not something that's said or done anymore. The author will elaborate on that. Or if it's a significant date, the author will elaborate on like what battles were going on in this area, and how many soldiers were killed, wounded, all that, you know, just from other historical stuff, that's historical records that are available. So it's a very fascinating look at not only the history of the Civil War, but also I'm very curious as to what life was like. Because there was a movie that come out a few months ago, and I talked about it on one of these unedited videos. It was awful. It was called Civil War, actually. And the story in that movie took place in like modern day. Like if there was a modern day Civil War, kind of what would it look like? And the movie was terrible. It had the concept of the movie I was super into. Like I thought it had so much potential. In reality, what they actually made out of the movie was garbage, you know. It was awful. So, but I was interested in that movie because of just curiosity, like something hit that rod over there. Like what would life look like for an average citizen? And so this girl's diary entries are, it's a very fascinating look. I mean, I'm in like the first year right now. I just read a few pages of this book, like 40 pages of it last night. But basically the first year of this girl's diary entries, honestly, they're a little bit dull. They're kind of boring. She talks about the weather and who came over to the house and going to church and stuff like that. Normal day-to-day life of a 20-year-old girl, but it's interesting. It's very interesting. So that's I'll read some more of it tonight. But it's called Cabbages, and I don't know how to pronounce the other word. Caisson. It's like Caisson, I think, or Casson. I'm not 100% sure on how to spell it off the top of my head, but yeah. And again, it's a local author. I guess if I'm remembering this correctly, the local author, she's a librarian apparently here. The descendants, I think it was the grandchildren of the girl whose diary entries we're reading, they had her diary. And they apparently passed away, and whoever were their caretakers or whatever came across this diary. They took it to the librarian who was the author of this book. And so, anyway, it's a fascinating read. It's even more fascinating just the fact that, they lived just a few miles from where I grew up. And that was another thing that was interesting. So a lot of her diary entries would talk about the river levels. Like, we've had a lot of rain. The river was up almost to our door. Was going to go such and such today, but couldn't cross the river because it was too high. Because now the Tennessee River is all impoundments, right? Like there's hydroelectric dams all throughout the Tennessee River. So the only flow you get on the Tennessee River now is when they are generating current at the dams. And the flooding of days past is, unless we've just got really sustained heavy rains, there's no flooding on the Tennessee River anymore. All that's controlled by TVA, which is part of the reason why they built the dams to begin with, was to get control of the flooding and provide a source of electricity for people. And take people's valuable farmland. That's a whole nother story. But, and there's probably some books on that too, from when they made the dams and they had to take people's property by the eminent domain type thing. So, yeah, but anyway, interesting just to know the struggles people had back then with the river. They would take ferries to cross back and forth back in the 1800s. But I guess when the river was flowing too much, those ferries were just inoperable. So you just couldn't, if you needed to cross the river that day, you just wasn't going to go. It's one of those things I guess we kind of take for granted nowadays, with being able to go where we want, when we want. And I mean, hell, you can get online today, buy you a plane ticket, and be the other side of the planet tomorrow. I mean, that's just how it works today with our modern conveniences. And looky there, we've been pulling that damn algae. You think that's why we wasn't catching nothing on that one? Possibly. We're gonna put it up anyway, though. It's time to ultralight fish, y'all. We're gonna catch us something on this ultralight. I think the skipjack bite's dead. It's dead for the day. Maybe they'll pick up again this evening, but you might be out here this evening, I won't be. Yeah, but anyway, it's fascinating. It's the first book I have read in ages. I'm not much of a reader, and as we've discussed today, I'm too cheap to buy bait. I'm too cheap to buy books too. This book was like, I think it was $20-something, and so I'm not really the book buying type. Even if I was into reading more, I'm too cheap to do it very often. But this book was appealing, and I'd heard about it, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot. And so far, it's not disappointed. I'm curious to see what their life was like as it gets further into the war. You know, when times get hard, and this girl that's in her diary entries, her brother fought for the Union, and she's very, Tennessee in the Civil War was split. I think we were, and I could be misquoting this, I think we were the last state to secede, I think. But Tennessee was very split between the Union and the Confederacy. I think seems like the middle and western part of the state was more Confederacy, and the eastern part was more Union. But this girl in doing the diary entries, her and her family was very pro-Union, and so you're kind of seeing it. Look right here. We done got one on the first cast with the ultralight, man. I'll be doggone, boy. We're in for it today. We're in for it. Oh, look at this. This is one of those sunfish right here. I want you to look at this thing. Look at the colors on him. I may keep this one just for a thumbnail. You know what I mean? Like this would be a good looking thumbnail right here to have this fish on there. I can get that hook out. Look at this. Look at the colors on him. Oh, boy, we about lost him overboard. You see that? He heard he was going to be used for bait, and he said, I ain't having it, Justin. I still can't get a hold of this thing. He's ornery. Very first cast. Look at the colors. The blue. He's got the orange here on the fins. That is a good looking fish. He's coming with us. We'll throw him on a hook at some point, and I may try to take a picture of him for a thumbnail. He might get me an extra YouTube click. I'm gonna throw over there and see if he's got a friend with him too. First cast though with the ultralight, and we were in a drought. It'd been a while since we hooked anything trolling. That bite's just dead. It's that time in the morning. But it's been fairly consistent lately. Of the places I've tried to catch bait, this has been the most dependable bite lately. I'm just going to cast this jig out. I had another one on right there. We're gonna cast it out and just let it fall and then reel it slowly back into us. I'll show you the bait. I guess I didn't do that, did I? I'm so used to y'all knowing, I didn't even consider the new people that might still be watching at this point in the video. It's a nice bluegill here. Bluegill, what was your family doing during the Civil War? You got any diary records? He can't read. He said even if there was a diary, he wouldn't know. This right here is the bait we're using though. That's a 1/64 ounce jig head, number 8 size hook. We got a 1-inch Gulp minnow in the smelt color. Look at this. Look at this behind us. Boy, something come up thrashing right there. Was that bass? Boy, it's gone now. Let's back it up, folks. We'll come back over here in a second. Let's go make a cast or two over here and see if we can hook into, if I can get us turned around. Come on, Bessie, turn. Something was going crazy right over here. We're gonna go make a few casts. Anyway, that's my ultralight setup here. That smelt color looks just like our shad, which is, you know, obviously what they're feeding on. I've got a St. Croix Panfish Series rod. I've had this rod forever. 6 foot long, ultralight action, 2-pound test trout magnet line. This is a 1,000 size Daiwa reel. And we're gonna make some casts right over here. I don't know if them fish are still here. They're probably gone. But they were blowing it up right there, wasn't they? Here today, gone tomorrow. Just like that. Well, them people over there playing music, buddy, that'd piss me off if I was staying at that campground and had to listen to that crap. You remember that movie Office Space? Like, I was told I could listen to the radio at a reasonable volume. There, he hit it. He snatched that Gulp, man. I don't know what it is, but he just come up and nailed it. Let me back off that drag just a smidge. Boy, he's swimming behind us here. Let's back it up. I don't know what this is. I saw him come up and snatch it, but I didn't get a good look at him. Is that a bass? It's probably a bass. Is it white bass or largemouth though? I don't know. White bass. Snatch that thing, buddy. I'm gonna have to net this one because of the light line. Come here, white bass. There you go. Now that was a good time, man. All right. Guess where you're going, white bass? In the cooler. Thank you very much. Please and thank you, sir. You want to try to do that again? That was fun. Let's see if there's some more over here. I love me some ultralight fishing, man. This is a blast to catch fish on this setup, especially when you're getting, you take a white bass like that, and I don't know how big he was. What do you think, 10 inches maybe? I mean, he wasn't a huge bass or anything. But, I mean, you saw the bend in this rod. I mean, they fight like the dickens anyway. You get a fish like that on this setup, you are in for a good time. You get a 6-inch bluegill on this setup, you're in for a good time. But you get something as powerful as a white bass or a skipjack, a better size largemouth or smallmouth, man, you can have you some fun, and you can do this kind of thing this kind of thing right here, this technique, we're not limited to a short window of time that they're going to be feeding, like with the skipjack bite. We're going to be able to do this. You can do this all day long. Like this is the type of thing, and we could fish bluegill. We can do this all afternoon if we wanted to. And I'm not going to. I'm going to fish another hour or two probably. This is another sunfish right here. I'm pretty sure these are red-breasted sunfish, if I'm not mistaken. They're all bluegill to me, but I'm pretty sure this is like a subspecies or whatever. Boy, he is hooked really good. There we go. Oh. Well, I was going to show you colors off there, sunfish, but he said he didn't want you looking. Oh, something's after me. But yeah, this kind of thing, we'll get bit all day long if we wanted to. Because we're just going to be, we're working the bank, man, beating the bank. I'm going to throw that thing out, let it sink. Now, you know, when those fish were busting over here, I wanted to reel it and make it look like a shad that's swimming away, try to get a reaction strike. But usually what I'm going to be doing when I'm throwing this bait is cast it out, let it sink. Most of your fish you're going to catch as that thing falls. And we don't get bit as it falls down, and then you start reeling it up, and just kind of slow and steady. Just reel it back to you. You'll catch some fish on the retrieve too. Usually going to catch your bluegill and your smallmouth on the fall. You catch some crappie on the fall. Your largemouth, your white bass, your yellow bass, there they are again. There they are again. They're over there. Oh, you think we can go chase them now? That's a big school right there. Your bass species, aside from smallmouth, you're going to catch a lot of them on the retrieve. Now, by the time we get there, they're going to be gone. It's tough to chase down fish in a kayak. That's a big school, though, that's coming up and busting right there. There's a lot of fish in that school. I wouldn't mind catching another couple of them. I don't know where they went. This is what if you're into technology, this is where your live scope is effective right here, folks. If we had that live scope on, we could shine it around and see where them fish went and be able to follow them. Personally, I'm kind of sick of the live scope. I think I'm going to take it off my other kayak. I want to put it on a portable mount. That way I can use it when I want to use it, mostly in the wintertime or if I'm specifically targeting crappie. But otherwise, it's kind of in the way. And I've kind of lost interest in it. If I'm not specifically using it for a live scope, I'm kind of over it. It just doesn't. I wasn't able to use it for catfish like I thought I was going to be able to use it. And that disappoints me. But I've never gotten good with it after, well, over 2 years now that I've had it. I just haven't gotten good with it, and I get frustrated using it. I love it when I'm on a good bite. But just when I'm not on that good bite and I'm just cruising around, staring at a screen all day, it's not very much fun. And I want to have fun. And I know I can come out here, I don't even need no damn graph today. doing this style of fishing, we're gonna get a bunch of fish. I'm gonna get us back over here. I don't know where them damn white bass went. There's something right here. Is that a school of minnows or something right here? Let's make a few casts right here. I see something right there. But I know I can come out here, no electronics at all, and do this and catch us a bunch of fish, get a variety of species, and have us a damn good time. And not have to fool with the technology, not have a huge graph that's always in the way. That's my biggest thing with the live scope, is it's always in the way. If I need to get in my front hatch, it's in the way. If I travel somewhere for a tournament or something, I gotta take that thing inside the hotel. You know, unhook it, carry all them wires and the whatever that box is. They call it the black box, but it's some kind of power box for your live scope. It's got its own processor box in addition to the screen. You'd think they'd make that all one unit, like the screen and the processor and all that. You'd think it'd just be one unit. Plus then you got your transducer that's got to be on a separate pole beside you. And you know, it's just, if it had worked out like I had hoped, if I'd been able to do with it what I wanted to do with it, it would have been great. But I just haven't been able to do it. I haven't been able to go out and specifically target catfish on any random day. Like in the winter months there, I was able to get on some fish and target them individually when they were up in the water column. But that's just not been a consistent bite for me. Like I got on it a little bit. That first winter I had the thing, I got on it. And this past winter, like I just had a hard time replicating that bite. And so, and the rest of the year, outside of the winter, I'm just not seeing fish up very often. Not big fish anyway. So it just didn't work out like I had wanted to. You know, that's one of the things in life, man. You know, you got to take your swings. Sometimes you swing and miss, and I feel like I swung and missed on the live scope. So I think I'm gonna take it off my other kayak, put it on a portable mount. That way, if I want to go crappie fishing, here we go. If I want to go fishing with it, I can. I can just throw it in the kayak and go, but otherwise it won't be in the way. Another nice bluegill here. Yeah, look at this. Look at this fella right here. That's a nice one. I've got my measuring board. If we catch some really big ones, we'll throw the big ones on there, but that was a good one right there. I mean, it's a good looking fish. They're active today, buddy. They're biting. I think I'm hooked up again right here. I saw my line. I saw my line flinch. 2 in a row. Ain't no telling how many we'd got if we hadn't went up chasing them white bass. You see them, big school like that erupting the surface. It's hard when they're that close. Like if it happened across the lake, I wouldn't have went after them. But with it, when it was that close, I was like, we may have a chance of getting there. Well, we got that one. Something's hitting me right now. There's some tree or something right here. It comes out, limbs or something. I see it. I'm just gonna let that thing fall down through there. The depth gets very deep very fast. Now the water's super clear here. We've probably got 8 or 10 feet of visibility that I can see down into, but this bank comes off real steep real fast. We're probably setting 15, 20 feet deep here where the kayak's at the moment, but we're casting up there kind of shallow and working it off. But we're going to catch fish all the way down the shoreline. You know, there really ain't you know, as far as why I'm starting here, it's just for how long I'm going to fish. I feel like we can, you know, this pocket or whatever this is here, kind of a landmark. I'm like, we'll just start here and go back and make our way back down toward the car over the next hour or so. But I mean, you could pick anywhere and be able to catch fish doing this right now. I mean, it's summertime. There's a bunch of fish up in the shallows, water's warm, metabolism's high. And when you're throwing a shad imitating bait, I mean, that's exactly what they're eating. They're eating these tiny shad right now. And of course you get these fish like the bluegill and sunfish, like they're eating those type of baits year round, those size of baits. So I mean, you're throwing what they're going to be eating anyway. I think we got one on. Nope. Looked like my line was getting kind of tight. Sometimes you get a light biter, you won't feel it. Like right there, I didn't feel that one, but I saw my line. I saw my line acting funny. Come here, bluegill. Yeah, I'm not one of these fishing snobs that don't appreciate a bluegill, man. I love them. Never outgrew it. Is what I'm doing right here, throwing this gulp, letting it sink down until we get bit and reel them in, is that difficult? No. Is there a challenge to it? No. But does it make it any less fun because it's not difficult or challenging? No, it don't. I'm having a good time regardless. Oh, I got bumped again. I don't need a challenge to make something fun. And them guys that want to talk like that, how they need a challenge. Every damn one of them's in this huge ass boat with a bimini top and a big motor, and you know, I just want to tell all of them, get your fat ass out in the kayak and put some physical energy to get where you're going and set on a platform 32 inches wide and catch your fish that way. There'll be a little extra challenge if you want. They don't want to do that. Fish. I got into this technique. I was into ultralight fishing, but I was using live baits and worms and stuff like that. And I started playing around with artificials more on the ultralight, and I found Randy Goad, who is now Trout Magnet Man on YouTube. He's got a YouTube channel now, but I found him back in, here's another one. 2 in a row. I come across Randy back in, gosh, I have no idea. It's been over 10 years. This is back when fishing forums was still a thing. I followed him on crappie.com forums, and there was another fishing forum in Tennessee. I forget what it was called. Tennessee Fishing something. I can't remember what it was called. It's been so long. I mean, it's been well over 10 years. And became friends with him on Facebook and stuff. And Randy would post, well, first off, Randy is really, you know, I love ultralight fishing, but Randy's like super, not only into ultralight fishing, but also the gear of ultralight fishing. Like, he's really into the Japanese gear, the JDM. It's Japanese domestic market. I don't know exactly what JDM stands for, but anyway, it's the JDM gear. It's very, very high quality. I've never used any of that stuff. I've kind of been, let's make a cast right over there where that fish splashed. I've always been kind of fearful of getting into it because I think I will like it too much. And those rods, man, they are hundreds of dollars. Like that gear is not cheap, but I mean, it is. Boy, there's some fish busting right here in front of us, man. Catch that fish right there, y'all. We got to get in front of him. He keeps going that way. Let's throw it that way. See if we can get in front of him. I don't know what he was, a little bass or something. We got to fix our gulp here. I think our gulp, we got to switch this out. It's got too loose. But anyway, Randy, he is an expert on all that JDM gear and owns a bunch of rods, and he would write out these detailed fishing reports, which I always enjoyed reading. He'd write them on the forums, and then I got to follow him on Facebook there, and he would post there, and he'd post his catches and how he was catching them, the gear and depth, and he'd post pictures of these huge bluegill beds he would find on his side scan electronics and stuff. I mean, just very detailed reports. And so he really got me into, and he was using artificials exclusively. And, you know, he would post all these 100+ fish days that he was having and all these variety of species he was catching. And this right here, folks, ain't a bluegill. I don't believe. No, I've lied to you, it is. I see him, he's a bluegill, he's just a good one. That initial hit did not feel like a bluegill. See you, buddy. Boy, it's a good bite today. Man, we're getting them all down through here. But anyway, you know, Randy would post these detailed reports, and I was fascinated by it because he was using artificials and having these amazing days that I just wasn't having using live baits. And his favorite ultralight bait is the trout magnet, hence the name of his YouTube channel, Trout Magnet Man. And he really likes the bison color a lot, which is a kind of a goldish brown color on one side and black on the other. And that's what he was throwing a lot. Now, he's used some other colors too, but that's the one he seemed to throw the most. And man, just everywhere he went, he was having these just amazing numbers of fish caught days. One day he might be on the crappie, wearing them out. Next day bluegill, next day bass, just amazing. And so I got to be kind of fascinated with him, and fortunately got to be friends with him a little bit online. I've never met him in person. I want to. I hope to fish with him someday. He moved from Tennessee to Arkansas, so I feel like I kind of missed my chance to possibly fish with him when he moved. But anyway, I got to following him, and I got interested in trying to catch fish on artificials with the ultralight instead of the minnows and worms and stuff like that I had been using. And I started using the trout magnets, and I was catching fish with them, but I wasn't getting the number of fish that Randy gets. And Randy, if you watch his videos and read his old reports and stuff, he uses what he calls like a twitch method. And I never got it dialed in. Like his method here, and you watch him on his videos, he's very rhythmic with it, but like he'll just be sitting here as he's reeling in. Well, I just nailed that fish before I could even show you. Bluegill, I was trying to demonstrate something. You're interrupting the flow of the video here, Bluegill. I need you to calm it down a minute. But Randy, he'll cast his bait out, let it sink down at whatever depth, and then he starts twitching his rod like this. And we got another one right here. It don't matter what kind of technique we do right now. We get it in front of these fish. They are so aggressive today. They're all over it, buddy. I'm gonna move along here because them fish are over there kind of small. But yeah, he's just twitching the whole way back as he reels it in. Just kind of giving it just a slow twitch, very erratic. I don't want to say it's erratic, it's rhythmic. It's a rhythmic twitch. And he just, I mean, just wears out the fish doing that. All species. There we go. And so anyway, I try out the trout magnets, trying to replicate his casting technique, or his retrieval. And I just wasn't having the success that he was having. Obviously, I mean, he's been doing it forever and he's a master at it. So it's silly of me to even think that I could go out and replicate doing what he's doing at any kind of level close to him. But, you know, I just wasn't, I didn't feel like I wasn't gaining confidence in that technique is what I was doing. And so anyway, I was searching around some more, looking at other types of lures and stuff. And I come across Brats and Mustard. There's a big splash behind me back there. Brats and Mustard YouTube channel, Frank Kajenka. And he too was doing a lot of ultralight fishing, but he was doing it with Gulp minnows. And I was watching him fish, and his technique was what you normally see me doing. Just cast it out, let it fall, catch a bunch of fish. And so I got me some Gulp, and I tried it, and I'm like, wow, I immediately just had success with it, just immediately. And so I've just kind of stuck with the Gulp, and I've tried other lures since then, but nothing for me has topped the Gulp. And it's just been so effective everywhere that I've used it. It's been hard to get away from. Now at some point, I'm probably going to take the plunge and get me a JDM rod of some kind, you know, just to try it out. I'm fearful to do it because, I mean, it's an expensive road to go down. And what Randy says, and yes, we got some fish going out here in front of us. From what Randy says and other people that get into the JDM stuff, like once you go down that rabbit hole, like you can't go back, they say. And so we'll see. I may eventually break down and do it. But I hope to someday fish with Frank. Lives up in Michigan, so there's no chance I'm ever gonna fish with him. I'll probably never be up Michigan. Hey, I don't think Frank posts videos on YouTube anymore. He used to post regularly, but I don't think he's posted much in 2 or 3 years. I think it's kind of run its course with him. But Randy still posts pretty regularly. He moved to Arkansas, I think it was last year he moved. He was living out in Middle Tennessee, and he moved to Arkansas, and he got him a new boat when he went out there, or he just got the boat recently. It's an aluminum boat, and he's out there. Apparently there's I forget the name of the river. He's talked about it, but there's a lot of trout in it. And so I think that's mostly what he's probably going to be focusing on out there. Now, he did post the other day, I saw his Facebook there, he got on some bluegill. One of them lakes out there, Bald Knob Lake, I'm wanting to say it was. That's the name of a lake popping in my head right now. But he's been busy with that move and all, and so he and getting his boat figured out and all that. There's something splashing behind us here. Crap, that's a terrible cast. Y'all made a lousy cast right then. Something was busting right here behind us. Might have been some largemouth or something. But he ain't posted as much. I don't think he's done as much fishing this year. But again, you know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, however the hell long it's been, man, Randy was posting all the time. Like, he was fishing every day, and his catches were just so impressive to me. And what I liked most about what he was doing, it wasn't even the catches themselves so much as it was Randy was making ultralight fishing and bluegill fishing cool. Like, you know, like we talked about there. Oh, what's this? Is this a bluegill? It is. He took it down hard to begin with, didn't he? It's not a bad one. Bluegill? You thought I was thinking you was something else, bluegill. But Randy made it cool. Like we were talking about there earlier, you know how these guys are. You get over here to the boat ramp day and somebody's putting in, well, how'd you do today? Well, you know, I caught me 30 bluegill, let's say. Oh, you know, you can tell the way they look at you, the way they respond, they're judging your ass. They're looking down on you because you're bluegill fishing. Randy, man, he made it cool. Like, you know, he's posting his catches and going in depth on it, and, you know, haters be damned. And, you know, he made it cool. And so, you know, I always respected that and appreciated that about him. And again, I enjoyed his reports. I mean, they were very in-depth. I learned a lot from him. I feel like I've probably read at some point most of every post he ever wrote on the old forums, back when, of course, them forums, I mean, with modern day social media, ain't nobody posting on no forum anymore. But back in, you know, early 2000s, whenever the hell it was, social media stuff wasn't, social media was around, but it wasn't like it is today. Forums were the main form of communication amongst fishermen back in those days. And so I think I've read pretty much everything that Randy has ever written. Learned a lot from him. But I never have been able to master his twitch technique with the trout magnet. I catch fish on trout magnets. You know, I troll. The last bait run video, I was trolling some trout magnets because they're a small size, kind of replicates the shad fry, and catching some fish on them. I do that in the summer months after the shad spawn. I'll use them trout magnets to troll with. But as far as just, if we could clone me today and have this version of me throwing the Gulp and the other version of me throwing a trout magnet, and we put me versus me side by side, throwing the two baits, the me throwing the Gulp would outfish the me throwing the trout magnet 10 to 1 or more, guarantee it. Now, I know this to be true because I've spent enough time throwing both baits. And it's not that the trout magnet is not, and I'm not saying that the trout magnet isn't as good a bait as the Gulp. I'm not saying that at all. But the skill required to get the number of bites on the trout magnet, what I'm getting at, I guess to say, is you need to master the retrieval technique on the trout magnet to have the same amount of success that you can come out here and throw a Gulp with no skill whatsoever. It takes zero talent to do what I'm doing right here. None. Now, we're going to get some snags. I'm surprised we ain't been snagged yet. You get some snags doing this, just letting it fall down into various trees and stuff. But for me to cast this bait out, do diddly-poo with it, just letting it fall down through there and just waiting on fish to bite, no effort, no talent whatsoever. But doing that with the trout magnet, sure, you'll get a fish here and there, but it's really more on the retrieve with those things. And really any smaller plastic lure, Bobby Garland or whatever, you know, you're going to catch more on the retrieve, it seems like, with those. And so I think it takes more skill to have the kind of success that you're going to have with the Gulp with no skill. That's my opinion anyway. That's my opinion on my experiences running both. But like I said, Randy, he is so talented with that technique that he can go out anywhere, anytime, and catch a ton of fish doing it. And the advantage for a trout magnet versus the Gulp, they do have some advantages in my opinion. First off is durability. The plastic of the trout magnet, way more durable. It's a more firm plastic. You can catch more fish on a trout magnet and not tear it up than you can a Gulp. So there's the durability factor. The other thing is the storage factor. Trout magnets come in a little bag, a resealable bag. So storage, very compact, not messy at all. The Gulp, I mean, I've got my urine specimen cup here. I keep the Gulp in because you've got to keep them in that juice. If they dry out, they shrivel up and they dry out and they get hard, like they're just not usable. Now you can put the Gulp in a pack. They sell Gulp in a pack, but the packages leak, and it's just a resealable cup, a leak-proof cup is the way to go. But it takes up more space. It's a bit messy. Baits aren't as durable. So I mean, there's advantages and disadvantages to each. It just comes down to your personal preference. Now, if you're one of these people that needs a little bit more challenge, if you're one of those guys, get you some trout magnets or some Bobby Garland plastic or whatever. Me, I ain't looking for a challenge today. I want to have fun. I want to catch some fish, and I don't want to talk to no damn bass fishermen over here at the ramp and have them judge me because I enjoy catching bluegill. They can all kiss my ass. I don't have any interaction with them at all. You know what I mean? Like, just they can go on with themselves. Go enjoy their bass. What do I care what they do? But I appreciate Randy for what he's done for ultralight fishing, making it cool, educating people on the importance of using, and Randy's the reason I use 2-pound line. Prior to Randy learning his techniques and stuff, I was using 6-8 pound line. I mean, I was using an ultralight rod, but I was using way too heavy a line. Randy, reading his reports, got me convinced on dropping down 2-pound line, and man, catches just straight up. The lighter the line, the more fish you catch. It's easier to cast these lighter lures on the 2-pound line. You can cast them farther, easier, but I don't know why, if it's just the diameter of the line, the way it sinks, the way it falls, but you go to 4-pound, you catch less fish. You go to 6-pound, even less fish. The lighter the line, the more fish you catch. And there's challenges with that, but that's part of ultralight fishing, is playing the fish, the skill of landing bigger fish. You know, if you need a challenge, if you're one of them people that need a challenge, maybe that's how you get it, is try to catch bigger fish on your ultralight so that you have to learn the skill of playing them out. I mean, what I'm doing here, no challenge at all, but if we were to hook into say a 2-pound skipjack or a 5-pound drum or something like that, it's going to come into play. Like, we're going to have to play that fish out. We're going to have to use our drag. We're going to have to try to guide that fish away from the various objects, trees hanging over and stuff. Like, that part of it does require some skill and some challenge. But You know, Randy made it cool and educated me on ultralight fishing. He's educated a lot of people on ultralight fishing, and you know, I feel like a lot more people are doing this today, in a large part because of him. His YouTube channel has not been, you know, I mean, he gets some views, but it's not really taken off like I would have expected it to. But I mean, I loved his reports back in the forum days. Like I was on them forums regularly. I didn't give a damn about anybody else's stuff on there. There wasn't any other person on them forums that I was looking at. It was just, I was specifically looking for him to post. We about to break off right here. If I got one of them things, oh, I do. I got another one of them. Well, speaking of trout magnet, they got these here plug knockers, and I've lost several of them now. I've lost more of these plug knockers than is worthwhile. I probably won't buy any more. I'm about to lose another one here. I've got it wrapped around that damn tree. I see it down there. There it went. It broke off. I broke off the damn plug knocker. I bought them things. Trout Magnet sells them. They're little smaller plug knockers. And I thought, if I can save us some jigs, save enough jigs to cover the cost of the plug knocker, it would be worthwhile to get them. Especially when I'm saving time by not having to retie in these unedited, raw and uncut videos that we're doing here. But unfortunately, I have lost several of them damn things. Now, I bought like 3 packs of them. And I've probably lost 2 packs worth now. But you can see here, this is just a little plastic box. I keep it here in my life jacket too, with my pack of skipjack stuff. And normally, if I'm doing an ultralight trip, I'll keep some. Well, I had one sitting right there on that magnet on my kayak, but I just keep them in my life jacket. That way, it don't matter what kayak I'm in. I keep a pea cup full of Gulp in both kayaks. That way, I'm always ready to go. I've always got what I need. I always got my jig heads. I've always got my Gulp, and that's all I need. Don't need that graph up there. Of this style of fishing here, you don't need no rod holder. Pedal kayak will certainly open up more water to you, but this technique that we're doing here, I mean, just casting at stuff, just throwing it down trees and shoreline, you don't need no pedals for that. You can paddle. So you can get you a cheap kayak. It's a economical way to fish. My rod's kind of expensive. It's like $100 rod. It's not like a few $100s like JDM gear or anything, but you know, it's a good quality. This St. Croix rod I use, it's a good quality rod. I've had it for, hell, I don't know how many years I've had it. My first ultralight video on this channel, I'm pretty sure it was 2016. So, how far, that was 8 years ago. Pretty sure it was 2016. I had this rod then. So, I know for sure I've had this rod at least 8 years. And I had been following Randy's posts long before that, so it's been a long time. I've been a fan of his a long time. I hope to meet him in person someday. I've interacted with him a lot online. Messenger and Facebook posts and stuff like that, but I'd like to, you know, he's somebody, even if I never got to fish with him, it'd be nice if I was ever out there just to take him to dinner or something and just pick his brain for an hour or two. Hopefully I'll be able to do that at some point. I don't have any plans to go out to Arkansas anytime, or even be out that way anytime soon. next trips I've got coming up, I want to get down to Alabama at some point. I'm going to have to go down there and work on pre-fishing a little bit at some point over the next month or so. Get ready for that tournament in September on Wheeler. Then we've got our tournament in New Orleans, New Orleans, Louisiana. Louisiana's the damn, I can't get my brain ain't working all of a sudden. Louisiana's the state. Our tournament there is in October, and then we go to Santee Cooper in November, I think November 1st or 2nd. So those 3 trips are kind of already in the works, and then I'm going to try to go down to the Keys Thanksgiving week again. At least I'm hoping to, if everything works out. So I don't know that I'm going to be out toward Arkansas, toward Randy's direction anytime soon. There's another fella out there west of me. He's in Missouri, Mike Baker. Mike Baker Videos YouTube channel. He's an excellent crappie fisherman. He does some catfishing too, but amazing crappie fisherman. I had talked to him, gosh, probably over 2 years ago. I had reached out to him. It was before I got Live Scope, actually, because I'd been watching his videos, and he's another person that I've learned a lot from. Very, very good YouTuber, explaining what he's doing, how he's doing it, and all that. And I'd reached out to him about possibly like doing a video together, which really, I honestly don't care about doing the video with him. I just wanted to get in a boat with him and pick his brain. I wanted to learn from him. And I thought, well, there might be an opportunity there. With my channel was a little bit bigger than his, so I thought maybe I could reach out to him, and if he was interested in collaborating with me, then I would kind of get what I want, with just, being able to meet him and pick his brain and all that. And talk to him. We actually spoke on the phone at one point, but it never worked out for me to go out there. It's so far away. It's like 10 hours for me to get to him. And it's just, man, it's hard to drive 10 hours to go west, because if I go 10 hours south, I can be at the ocean. You know what I mean? Like, do I want to go crappie fishing in Missouri, or do I want to go shark fishing down in Florida? It's like, you know what I mean? So I've never made it out there. Yeah, it's been over 2 years. Oh, look at this fish. Oh, he followed it all the way up. Did you see him? That was a little bass right there. I'd reached out to him before I got Live Scope. So, yeah, I hope he's another one that I hope to fish with someday. Or just meet, if I could just meet him and take him to dinner and I just like to talk. I just like to ask questions for like an hour. So hopefully it'll work out at some point. There's not many people in the fishing world that, that I'd just be interested, historically speaking, the philosophical question we always ask, if you could have dinner with anyone in the world, past, present, future, who would it be and why, type thing. And the answer for me is always myself. Like, if I could go back in time and talk to my younger self, boy, I'd be rich, because I'd have done hit the lottery every drawing, and I would have most definitely avoided some of the women I have interacted with, hooked up with, you know what I mean? Like, I could dodge some bullets and improve myself financially in a big way if I could go back in time and chat with my younger self. So that, past, present, future, who would you have dinner with? Me would be number one. Number two on my list would probably be me again. I'd like to have dinner with me in the future, just to figure out, like, what has happened to me in the future, what kind of pitfalls I need to avoid from this point forward, what women do I need to avoid from this point forward, when am I going to die, you know, stuff like that. You know, so person number one would be me, person number two would also be me, past me, then future me. And then person number three, who would I pick? It would probably be, I mean, if it was just, if we just keep it to fishing, throw out other people, historical figures and whatnot. If it was just fishing only, I would probably go Buck Perry. Because, I mean, he's the godfather of structure fishing. I've applied his principles. You know, there's fish finally. We had a little dry spell there. Finally got us another one. Buck Perry was a bass fisherman that caught more trophy bass than most people that have ever lived. Like, I mean, he was excellent bass fisherman, and he did it at a time before there was technology. There was no live scope back then. When Buck started, there wasn't even, it wasn't graphs. Like, he was, look how fat that bluegill is. He's got a belly on, he's thick. He ain't very long, but he's thick. Get out of here, you old heifer. But Buck was doing it at a time when he didn't have all the fancy technology, didn't have all the gadgets. He invented structure fishing. He's literally the godfather of structure fishing. Most of the terms we use today, breaks, break lines, anything you think of when you think of structure, Buck he invented the terminology. So he was way ahead of his time. And I would be fascinated to sit down and talk with him. He was before my time. I don't remember when he died, but I found his material through another fisherman, used to live here locally, Corey Allen. He moved, he was a muskie fisherman here. I don't know where he lives at now. Illinois, Iowa. He moved up north somewhere. But anyway, he put me on to Buck's teachings. And I started, again, Buck was a bass fisherman, but you take his teachings and apply it to catfish, and it still works. I mean, everything you see me doing, how I'm setting up on places, the things I'm showing you on my graph of how I'm moving along ledges and setting up on points and stuff like that, that's Buck Perry 101, right? I mean, that's how I learned to do that stuff, was the Buck Perry books. And so if I had the opportunity to go back in time and just pick his brain or take his course, back in those days, Buck would do he would go to an area, take one of the local reporters, newspaper writers out, put them on the biggest fish of their life, and then do a seminar. And he would offer classes, if you will, too, where people would sign up and they would go and they would do on-the-water instructions. And he would teach them. Part of the teaching back then was learning how to map an area. Like take a lake or reservoir like this, he would take a lure that he invented called a spoon plug. It was a combination of basically a spoon and a crankbait. Why they call it spoon plug. It was a spoon and a plug combined. It was a lure he made, though. And he would use that spoon plug, or spoon plugs, he had different sizes to run different depths. And he would map an area. And so he would figure out the contours and hand draw a map and then be able to go back. And he come up with a system of fishing called spoon plugging. And it would be fascinating to take, if we could bring Buck back from the dead, and boy, if we could bring people back from the dead, fishing would be the furthest thing from our mind. But you know what I mean? But like, if we could bring him back and put him with today's technology where you roll up on a lake, you don't have to map it. It's already mapped for you. You can get you a damn map card in your graph. Everything, the contours, the mapping, it's done for you when you get there. You got live scope technology to see in front of you. You put Buck today with that kind of technology, man, there's no telling what he would accomplish. Because, I mean, how much time did he spend just mapping an area? Hand drawing the maps? You know, I would love to just see him modern day, what he could accomplish. And if I had the opportunity to chat with him, I would have loved to do that, done that. But unfortunately, mine and his generations didn't really cross appropriately. So impossible. But I've read his books, I've read his teachings, I've applied them. I wouldn't say I've applied them well, but I've applied them well enough to be able to improve my catfishing tremendously. I've caught a lot of fish and a lot of big fish the last few years because of Buck Perry's teachings. And so I try to spread that knowledge best I can in these videos. When I'm catfishing, I always try to show my graph, I try to show the map card, just to kind of give you all an idea of how, not only how I'm setting up, but why. And hopefully you all are able to take that and apply that to your own bodies of water where you're fishing. And I mean, it works, man. It's worked for me all across everywhere I've been. I mean, you've seen me. Oh, look at that. I had 2 bass right there. I don't know if you can see them on video or not. They're still right there. Let me throw back in there to them. They followed it. Come get that thing, bass. I see you. He's just a little old bass. But I mean, you've seen me compete in these tournaments. Kentucky, Alabama, Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina. Like, I'm applying Buck's teachings all over, everywhere I go, and I'm catching fish everywhere I go. And, you know, that's just, his teachings travel everywhere. Every body of water is going to have its own little nuances and stuff. Fish might be certain types of structures versus others. There could be thermoclines, some bodies of water. Some bodies of water is going to have more current flow than others. Different baits are certainly going to play a factor. But the method of finding those places that you want to fish is the same. It's the same. You know, a fish is a fish is a fish. Bass, catfish, crappie, like whatever you're into, Buck Perry's teachings is going to help you be a better fisherman. But yeah, if I could pick his brain, that would be awesome. And I'd ask stupid questions too. You know, like, I mean, I'd ask the most basic dumb questions, but sometimes, even though you're reading it in a book, sometimes I think it's just good to verbally hear it, to have somebody verbally speak it. And maybe it's just the way we learn. You know, I don't know. I always, even in school and stuff, I preferred a good lecture to reading a textbook. So it'd be nice to hear. And man, if I could have taken one of those classes that Buck's put on the water class, man. Now, his protege, Don Dixon, had started a YouTube channel. and was going over Buck's teachings. And I watched it for a little while, but it really got, I know Don Dixon there, he's had some health problems. He had mentioned there on one of his videos, or maybe it was social media, he had made a post that he had had cancer, or got cancer. And so, you know, that's obviously going to affect his ability to fish and to make content and things like that. But his videos were more, when he first started the channel, I had hoped it was going to be taking Buck's teachings and doing on the water filming, like applying Buck's teachings out on the water. But what his channel kind of, the direction he took with it was just explaining the teachings in the book, like verbally. And I really wanted to, I really wanted to like see it in action. It's one thing to read about it and hear Don talking about it, but it's another to like see it in practice. And so I wished he had done that, but you know, I get it, health stuff and whatnot. I just think ain't in the mix. And I don't know how old Don Dixon is. He's probably in his 70s or 80s, I guess. But it's a shame, you know, the spoon plugging technique, as great and as brilliant as Buck was, being ahead of his time as far as catching fish and the method to do it, he just wasn't a good marketer. And so the spoon plugging technique never really took off. Because Buck wasn't trying to be a salesman. He was a fisherman. He would make a point, it's like, color of the lure, color of the spoon plug, don't matter. Scents, stuff like that, don't matter. You know, like, you know, and that's, if you're trying to sell lures, that's why you see crankbaits in 58 different colors. Do you need 58 different colors to catch fish? Hell no. You don't. But these companies that are good at marketing will have you believe you need 58 different colors. And so that's where Buck kind of, I wouldn't say he went wrong with it. I mean, he made a nice enough living for himself, and his message is still out there, but it just never got mainstream. And that's unfortunate, because I mean, as hard as he worked at it and as brilliant as he was, the fact that most people today, I guarantee you, you go over here, and Buck was a bass fisherman, but I guarantee you, if we sat over here at the boat ramp and interviewed these bass fishermen as they get back to the ramp today, and that would be the worst day of my life if I had to talk to that many bass fishermen. We're totally not going to do this. But hypothetically, if we were, I guarantee you, if we interviewed 50 bass fishermen over here today and asked them, do you know Buck Perry? Do you know who Buck Perry was? There might be one or two that's even heard of him. The bass fishermen today have no idea who Buck Perry was. And that's a shame. That's a real shame. Now, Buck obviously don't care, because I mean, he's dead. Dead people don't care. It's always, people will, I've had people actually ask me this, as dumb as this sounds, but people ask you about, we're going to swing out here. We got all these trees coming out here. This is Snag Central. I ain't trying to break off again on this video, so we're going to ease around this and get over here on the other side of them. But people ask sometimes, like, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to be remembered for? And I mean, I'm always like, I've been asked this a couple times. I'm like, well, legacies are something you talk about after a person's died. And if I'm dead, what the hell do I care what people are saying about me? Like, I mean, I'm dead at that point. I don't know anymore. Like, what do I care? It doesn't matter what a legacy is. You know, I just, especially in my case, like I don't have any kids and I don't anticipate having any. It's not something I really desire. So chances are when I die, who am I going to leave behind? A woman? Maybe some close friends? Like, that's it. I'm not going to have any descendants. So there's nobody to, legacy, like, who gives a crap? I don't care. I don't give a damn about legacy. And I'm sure Buck Perry, he obviously don't either because he's dead. But as somebody who, like me, who has a great respect for Buck Perry, I find it to be a shame that, especially bass fishermen, because I mean, he was a bass fisherman, that more of those guys don't, they've never even heard of him. With him, I mean, he literally created the terminology that we use to describe various structures today, and yet the people who say it have no clue. People who use the terminology have no clue where it came from. And honestly, most of these bass fishermen, they can rattle off the various types of structures. They have no idea how to fish them. Most of these bass fishing guys, you see it. You see it where you fish. What do? They do exactly what we're doing right here, beating the banks. Now, they're throwing different lures, but that's all they're doing, beating the banks. Buck caught he said a trophy bass in a reservoir, a Highland reservoir, on average would be at 35 feet deep. That's where they'd spend the bulk of their life, about 35 feet deep. And once, twice a day, depending on conditions, they would move up to feed, and they would follow predictable patterns as they moved up on various structures. And that's what the spoon plugging technique that he developed was designed to do, is to catch those fish. And so it's amazing. It's amazing how something so effective can fall off, but it's really just, I think, just due to marketing. He was, Buck Perry, as great as he was as a fisherman, was a poor marketer. And, you know, if you got a company, it's people, and this is unfortunate, but it's true in real life, and it's especially true with fishermen. People want to be sold stuff. They don't want a technique, they want a lure. They want a product. They want to say, use this purple color worm and you're going to catch fish. People will spend hours going through a Bass Pro catalog. They'll spend hours shopping for fishing lures and what rods they're going to throw, the various baits on, the reel and the line. They'll spend hours researching and shopping and buying that stuff, organizing tackle. They spend no time learning how to actually do the techniques to be able to catch fish on those various baits. It's just backwards to me. It's totally backwards. They should be learning the technique and then figuring out what is it that they actually need to be able to do the technique. But that ain't how it works. And that's true. That's fishermen, but that's just humans in general. That's how we are. We want that as seen on TV product, not the knowledge it takes to actually do whatever. We want something to do it for us, not us learn how to do it ourselves. That's human. And I ain't trying to be calling people out for stuff that I don't do. Like, I do it too in a lot of ways. Not so much with fishing, but other things in life, I'm certainly like that. But that's how it is, man. That's just humans, human nature. Why? I've just been sitting here flapping my gums, but man, I feel like we're on a drought. Like we were catching fish up there closer to that. There's something busting right here now. We were catching fish closer to that pocket up there, like one after another. And the further we've gotten down this way, like we're on a dry spell here. I'm gonna need y'all to get it together. Start catching something. They're over there clapping at something now. At least they've turned the music off. Birthdays, weddings, bar mitzvahs, you never know what the hell you're gonna see when you go to the lake. You just never know. You think I could, when I get done fishing today, you think I could walk over there and shake hands with a couple of them and just pretend I know somebody and get me a piece of cake or a hamburger or whatever it is they're serving over there? You think I could be like a wedding crasher for whatever the hell they got going on? Surely they'd give me a piece of cake, don't you think? Surely they would. Oh, we got a little bump there. Oh, well, shot it back at us. Yeah, it's definitely, the bite has definitely declined as we've got further down through here. That's not uncommon. I mean, you're not going to catch fish. You will catch fish all the way up and down the place, but you'll have dead stretches. They'll be stacked up on one tree and you'll hit 10 more trees and nothing, and you'll find another tree that's loaded with fish. And that's how it goes, but I feel like we've been on like an extended dry spell. I'm happy with how the day has gone. I wish we could have got more skipjack, but like I said, it's just been tough lately. And you got to take what the river gives you, and right now it's giving me what it's doing. And so we had that window of time where a few fish were coming up and feeding, and we got them and got what we could anyway. Got enough for a day's fishing. We come over here, hit the ultralight. We've got some bluegill, got that white bass, you know. I'm happy with how it's gone. Had a lot more action today than what I've had on my recent catfish and my carp fishing trips. That's for sure. Like I said, it's been tough, so it's nice to come out on a day like this and get several fish, get several bites, and just kind of fill up the old confidence tank again. Anytime you're struggling, not catching many fish, your confidence is starting to drop a little bit. You come out, ultralight rod, catch you a bunch of fish, and you go home feeling like, maybe I am an okay fisherman. It make you feel better. It does me anyway. I'm gonna go home today feeling pretty good. I'm actually gonna stop on the way home. I gotta get groceries today. Stop at the Aldi. On the way home, I got one steak left in the fridge, so gotta replenish. I see some little tiny bass over there. There's a bunch of fish right up there. Let's see if we can get some. I don't know what those are. Are those small bass or are they bluegill? We'll find out here in a second. I can see them up there. They're up there real shallow. Well, I'm about to spook them off because we just got snagged. We ease up over here and actually see the thing. I'm gonna stand up, take a look. Oh, I think it's small bluegill is what it is. I see our lure too. There it comes. Yeah, it was tiny bluegill right there. We ain't gonna fool with them. I was getting, last time I ultralight fished over here, I got some big bluegill. But we ain't got any 8+. We've had some nice size bluegill, don't get me wrong. But we haven't had any that I felt compelled to throw on the measuring board. Like, we haven't had any 8-inchers today. We were really tearing them up there though, toward the mouth of that pocket. And it's just, we should have stayed up there, I reckon. I just thought we'd just mosey on down here toward the car. If there had been a bunch of fish, if we'd seen a bunch of fish along the dam wall when we were trolling, I would have started ultralight fishing there. Oh, what do you know? We got one. Call the press, somebody. We done broke our drought here. But I just wasn't seeing much down there at the dam wall today, so didn't feel a need. I figured we'd just start up here, and it's paid off with some fish though. I mean, we've got several now. Try to get us a few more too. I want to fish here a little while longer. We ain't got much more camera battery life, but I may fish a little while after battery dies. Just a little me time. Not that me filming is not me time. It kind of is, but I don't know, sometimes it's nice to be able to fish and not talk to the camera and not have to worry about where that camera's positioned. Is the water on the lens? Sometimes I set at funny angles just trying to get the best view, you know, for the camera. Here's another fish. Boy, this one's pulling like a Dickens right here, buddy. That's a good bluegill. He's got something wrong with his lip right here too. He's kissed the wrong person. Look at this. Look what this fish has got on him. Uh-huh. Kissed the wrong one, fish. Yup. Busted. Evidence is right there on your lip. Normally this is where I would make a joke about dirty women, but I've had some women in my comment box scold me for that. My audience, very few women. We got like 10% women on here. Now there's probably more than that get stuck watching. 10% voluntarily watch, according to YouTube, but there's other girlfriends and wives out there get forced to watch this crap with their boyfriends and husbands. To you ladies, I'm sorry, especially if you've sat through 3 hours or however long we've been at it now. So I apologize to you ladies. So I'm gonna hold off on making the woman jokes today, and out of respect to you, out of respect to the women who's went 3 hours of listening to me today. Fellas, that was a fish right there, come up right in front of us. If you got a lady that's willing to sit through 3+ hours of listening to me, keep her. You ain't gonna find a better woman than that. She's marriage material. You better go to the pawn shop and find you the best diamond or cubic zirconia they got. What the hell is this? You hear that? I don't know what the hell they're doing over there. I don't think it ain't English, whatever they're doing. I don't know what's going on. I hope whatever they're singing ain't copyrighted. I'll get dinged because they're doing it loud. I mean, if I was over here having a nice vacation, of course, I don't know anybody go camping and have a nice vacation. I'm not a camping type person. But if I was over here trying to have a relaxing vacation at the campground and I had to listen to this crap, I'd be pissed. I mean, it annoys me, and I'm just out here fishing. Golly, bum, it's awful too. It ain't like it's somebody that's got talent singing. It sounds like somebody's run over a dog. Lord. But speaking of that, if you do come over here to fish, you better take it slow going up the road here by the dam. That's where I hit Bambi there recently. I think, as I mentioned there in yesterday's video, I think Bambi ran into me. Because I had already seen Bambi's cousins, and I had slowed down. I was going maybe 15, 20 miles an hour, because it's almost up here to the ramp when Bambi ran out and smashed me. But whether I hit Bambi or Bambi hit me, either way, it was a head-on collision. Bambi unfortunately walked away. I got me $400 worth of damage. The deer over here are just something else, though. They're out of control. There's nowhere in this area, because it's government land, you can't hunt them over here. And you go up the road from here, and it's all getting developed. There's subdivisions going in, and because God forbid we have any ground that don't have a house on it in Tennessee anymore. So these deer, they're getting kind of pushed into these areas that don't have people left, because government. That's one good thing about this being government land, is it ain't gonna get built up, especially this side over here. This side over here is all government land, and it'll be government land forever, because it's the National Lab, Oak Ridge National Lab owns it. That's where they make, that's where in World War II they made the atomic bomb. So this will permanently be house free over here. Boy, they got them daggone shaker things now over there, I hear it. Boy, that just... You'd think they'd find somewhere else to do that crap. Ain't none of my business, I know. People's free to do whatever they want. I bet you if Border Patrol showed up over there, a lot of them would quit singing. I bet you. I probably shouldn't say that, but if you was over there checking for an ID, most of them wouldn't be able to produce it, I guarantee it. We got a lot of people here that ain't from here, if you know what I mean. Tennessee's I guess it's like that all over the country nowadays, but Tennessee seems, that population's growing here, Hispanic population. And it ain't for cost of living being cheap, that's for sure, because everything keeps going up with all these people moving here, and house land prices going through the roof. I'm sitting on a gold mine at my house, really. Here's a fish. Oh, I was hung. I thought it was a fish. I'm gonna claim it was a fish because it about pulled my gulp off. I think it was a snag then. I mean, land prices and house prices skyrocket. So I mean, what I paid for my house to what it's worth now, it's a huge increase. But that only matters if you're going to sell, and I don't want to sell. I mean, I'll probably die in that house, you know. I'm not looking to sell, so when value, land and stuff goes up, house values go up, it actually negatively impacts somebody like me who's not looking to sell, because when our house and property's reassessed, we're going to pay more taxes. So I'm not happy about the price of Tennessee going up. I wish the price of Tennessee would go down. I wish these people would move out. I'd like to be able to drive across town and not hit 37 red lights. I mean, I come out here, obviously before dawn, driving across town, I bet you I hit 5 or 6 red lights. Used to, you go back in time 15 years ago, I could drive one end of town to the other, never hit a red light. Now, it don't matter what hour of the day you're out, you're gonna hit numerous red lights because there's always people on the road, all hours of the day now. And they ain't got the red lights. This is another thing that pisses me off. They're bringing all these people in. They're getting all this extra tax revenue. Why don't they fix our red lights to where they'll be in sync? And maybe this happens where you live too. You, in the middle of the night, you early morning, you driving down the road, the red light will change. There ain't nobody waiting at the cross section on the other side to turn. There's nobody there, there's not a car there. But the red light will still go yellow and red and make you stop for no damn reason. Like they need to fix that. That's the least they could do if they're gonna bring all these people in here. Why won't these people shut the hell up? That song's went on too long. I don't know what they're clapping about. I guess people over there are clapping because it's over. Taylor Swift can end a song in 2 to 3 minutes. It took them half an hour, it feels like. I hope they're done with the concert. If I was to go up there and try to get a piece of cake, they ought to give me a piece of cake. They ought to cut the cake and hand it to me for what we've had to go through listening to them today. It's something else, man. Well, here's the next song on the album they're starting. You won't be seeing them on iTunes anytime soon, I'll tell you that. Ain't nobody buying whatever they're selling. You know, and singing's one of them things that everybody thinks they're better than they are. I mean, I don't watch American Idol, but go back and watch it if you want to, the auditions and stuff. Everybody thinks they're better than they are. Very few, I bet you the percentage of people who can actually sing, I bet it's under 10% for sure. I bet it's 5% or less of somebody that you can tolerate singing. I bet the people who are actually talented singers, it's got to be 1% or less. None of those people and whatever's going on over here are making that top 10%, let alone the top 1%. None of them. They're all terrible. And if you're terrible, if you're in that 99 percentile, don't subject other people to your singing. Just don't do it. Sing in the shower. You got privacy in there. Not out here in a daggone public boat ramp. I hope you all aren't being subjected to this. I hope the microphone's drowning it out. They're killing my view time if this is coming over the microphone. Now, I wouldn't blame you one bit for clicking off either. It's awful. They're going to run me out of here earlier is what they're going to do. I was going to fish a little while longer and get down here this next pocket, but I don't know if I can stand it. And why do they have to sing so loud? I feel like they're yelling. I mean, if I can hear them all the way over here on this side of the lake, they're yelling that crap. I don't know what they're singing about. It may be some religious thing. Hell, they could be doing some kind of devil worshiping for all I know. I can't understand a thing they're saying. There's another kayak up there too. It looks like he's coming this way. I bet he's going over that pocket I was wanting to end up on. I've caught some good fish in that pocket this year. I think he's headed that way though. I'll tell you what I want to do. If he's headed that way, which I think he is, here's what I want to do. We're going to troll our way over to that other corner over there. If I can't fish that pocket, because I think he's headed there. He's paddling. He's headed there. That's fine. I'm not going to be a dick and cut him off. We could beat him to it, but I'm not going to do that. I can see where he's going. We're going to just troll our way over to this corner over here. We'll throw out these spoons behind us as we go. We'll make our way over to that other corner, and I'm gonna make a few casts over there on that tree. I got some bluegill on that tree on that last bait run that I filmed, and so we'll see if I can get something over there. Let's cast these out behind us. I want you, when we get over here closer to these people singing, I want you to holler at them and tell them to shut the hell up. I got you back, you know, if they want to get rowdy. But they ain't gonna they couldn't understand me saying, I'm gonna need y'all to holler at them. I think some of them, though, know more English than they let on. Just like them girls at the Asian spa that cuts my toenails now. I think they know more English than they let on too. Yeah, we'll see if we can't bust one more skipjack or something as we make our way over through here. I may swing over by there's nobody at the boat ramp right now, so I may swing over there too. Go down that way, see if we can't get a white bass or something. I think I'm gonna make a few casts at that tree and probably get the hell out of here. Call it a day, go get my groceries. See if Daphne the dog's ready to play when I get home. I'm sure she is. Hopefully today's gonna be a day where she's gonna be good dog, not bad dog. Never know with her. Changes minute by minute. She's fun when she's a good dog, but boy, when she's bad, she's bad. When she's bad, she's almost as bad as these people singing over here. They've got something going on. Like they're up there at the picnic tables, like they've got something happening. I guarantee you there's free food to be had. It would be interesting to see if they'd give me a piece of cake or something, or a hamburger. I just walk up and start shaking hands and pretend like I fit in and just grab me a plate of food. What do you think they would do? Do you think I would get like forcibly removed? Would they call the law? What do you think would happen in that situation? If you just walked up like complete stranger, they've got some kind of celebration requiring singing going on, and you just walk up and grab a plate and just act like you fit in, just act like you belong. Like, what would they do? I'm not going to do that. I'm not social enough to do it. But some of you out there, like if you did it, like what would be the reaction? That would make for an interesting video. That would be a video I would actually watch. We've earned that piece of cake today, though, listening to that garbage. Every song they've sang has been awful. Yeah, I'm gonna turn right here by the dock where we got them white bass first thing. I don't know if we'll get anything right now or not, but if we do, great. If we don't, no big deal. Go down here, make a few casts. See if I can get me some more bluegill on this tree, and then I'm gonna skedaddle, I think. I'm gonna call it a day. Got us some bait. Got us some fish. I feel like it's a good day for me. Hopefully y'all have enjoyed it. Bait run trips are hit or miss on my channel sometimes. The last video done pretty good, but the ones before that, not so much. You just never know. I guess it depends on people's mood and whatnot, but it's been it's one of them things. If you're going to be a catfisherman and you're not somebody like me, you don't want to spend $50 on bait to buy it and use frozen bait and have no idea how the bait's been stored and kept and all that. If you're going to catch your own bait, this is part of it. This is what you got to do. You got to get out on the water. You got to go catch it, go find it. And so it's just part of being a catfisherman. You got to catch fish so that you can get something to try to catch fish. Boy, we ain't got no taps, no nothing coming down through here. It's dead now. Deader than damn it. May not even catch nothing off that tree there. I remember last time I threw the gulp over at that tree, I got a few bluegill in a row, and so this fella over here is going to that pocket. We'll just let him have it, and he's paddling, so I could have been a dick and just cut him off and beat him to it, but I'm not going to be that person. We caught fish in that pocket, and I'd like to have seen what's going on, but again, we can catch fish anywhere on that gulp, so it's not a big deal. I don't want to be that guy. I try to, unlike some of these bass fishermen stuff, I try to give people space best I can. I don't want to crowd people. All right, well, nothing on the troll over here, but never hurts to throw them out just in case. You'd be surprised how many fish you'll pick off just trolling a lure of some kind on your way, point A to point B. Get you some spoons if you want to try this style of fishing. There's a link down in the video description there. Catfish Sumo, I think he's got them on Amazon too, I think. Free shipping if you order from Catfish Sumo though, so I'd go that route versus Amazon, but either way, I mean, they're cheap. Only thing with them spoons, this is the best piece of advice I can give you. You want a good quality, right here. We done busted a fish right here. You're gonna throw them spoons, you need you a good quality swivel, ball bearing swivel. Because otherwise you're gonna get a bunch of line twist. They will twist your line up something terrible if you're using a cheap swivel. So splurge a little bit. What's a pack of swivel cost? $1? Get the pack that costs $2 or $3 instead. And that'll keep you from getting line twist. Got him. Hey, some fish hang out right here off this tree. It's a little better one right there, ain't it? Bluegill. Nice one. Oh, finned me too, didn't he? Uncalled for, Mr. Bluegill. I was going to let you go. I was only going to keep your... I wasn't going to keep any bluegill today, but that one sunfish was just so dang pretty. I knew it was going to make a nice thumbnail for some video in the future. And so I'm just like, we'll keep that. Let's see if we can get us another one here before that wind blows us past it. I hope that person ain't about to turn in right here. How far they are. Looks like the A-team. I actually did see a van on the interstate the other day that looked like the A-team. Oh, they're moving on good. It had the red stripe and everything. The red stripe, the spoiler. I saw that van and I was like, dun 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 dun. And me singing the A-team song is still better than those people over there singing at the wedding bar mitzvah party or whatever the hell's going on. You know it's true. Me humming the A-team way better than what they were doing. Well, we got a couple fish, and then seems like the last time I threw at this tree, I got 5 or 6 in a row before they quit biting, but not so much this time. Well, that fellow went over behind. He must be in that pocket. All right, folks. Well, about time to change this gulp out here anyway. It's getting loose. I'm just going to scrap it. That fish right there come up and flipped me a bird. He heard I was leaving. You done missed your chance, fish. I'm out of here. We're going to pack it in, I think, go to the grocery store, get some groceries, go home to Daphne the dog, go put some more ice on our bait here, get them packed in, get ready to go. Hopefully tomorrow, we'll see. Weather allows, I'll fish somewhere. So hopefully the next video you'll see after this for my regular fishing buddies on here, hopefully it'll be a catfish trip. If I can go tomorrow and if I can put us on some catfish, no guarantees as of late. It's been tough, but it will get better. It always does. Go through these cycles, go through these slumps. It always, end of the year, it always averages out. So anyway, y'all, thanks for coming with me on the bait run today. I've had a good time. I've enjoyed myself. Hopefully you've enjoyed yourself, maybe learned a thing or two on the way. And yeah, we'll do it again here soon. Hopefully catfish trip. Catfish trips are coming one way or the other. Whether we get on them now or it takes a few weeks, they're coming, man. Just hang with me. It'll get better. It always does. And we're going to get down to Alabama at some point soon, too. We got to get down there and poke around a little bit, try to figure out what we're going to do come tournament time. So anyway, I'll see. I'm rambling on. I always do this. So I'm going to get the hell out of here. I'll see you next time. Thanks for coming with me today.